Sexton trying to get loose. He'll fire. He knocks it down. Morrow slammed it home. Garland upstairs. Oh! Sexton inside. A thunderous dunk. And Allen blocked the shot at the rim.
Welcome to the Chase Down podcast coverage of the 2021 Cavs Media Day. I'm your host, Justin Rowan. We are going to be hearing from members of the Cavs organization on the podium. Don't worry, we will cut to the podium whenever someone is up there because, let's be honest, you want to hear from them more than you want to hear from us. But joining me today is my co-host, Carter Rodriguez. Carter, how's it going, buddy?
I don't know what it says about us, Justin, that it didn't occur to us that we might want to also be able to ask questions on the podium until we're like a day away from going live. But either way, we're going to have great coverage of all the Media Day action. I'm really, really excited about this. It just feels a bit like Christmas, you know, like, hey, this is about to, the season's about to start and there's a lot of excitement around it.
It's Christmas, it's picture day, it's everything you want. We're going to have plenty of photos from today to analyze who's standing a little forward compared to the other player, trying to figure out height relative to other players. Height watch is in full effect, but let's get into it. What are we looking forward to when it comes to Media Day, and what are some of our expectations? I think as we wait for JB Bickerstaff and Kobe Altman to go to the podium, I think it'd be smart to kind of go over some of our expectations or what we're hoping to learn from this Media Day.
I'm just kind of hoping to, this feels like the first season where this team really gets to, be what Kobe's wanted them to be. This feels like, so many times the last couple of years it's been, slow build. And sure, the team's still young, but this is like starting to look like the roster that Kobe and JB have been putting together. And I want to hear what they think, what are they expecting out of this season? Because, there's been some mixed messaging here. To some extent, some people have felt like, the message has been time to win. And then they go get even younger by trading for Lauri Markkanen and draft, not a project, but, a guy who we think is going to take a year or two to reach his full potential, and Evan Mobley. And seems like they're handing the keys to the kids. So bit of a mixed message. I mean, I think you can win with kids, but I kind of want to hear what they think. What kind of expectation setting are they going to do this year?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about as well, because you look at this roster, Lauri Markkanen and Jared Allen, they're going into year 5. Yes, they're young. Yes, they're 23 years old, but they've been in the league for a while now. Colin Sexton is going into year 4.
That actually occurred to me the other day, and I couldn't believe it.
It's unbelievable. So it's not like they're the Knicks and they drafted Obi Toppin, who's 25 in his rookie year here. Yes, these guys are young, but they've had some experience in the NBA. And I think this is a point where it's starting to get fair, I think, to start putting some expectations on these players to kind of expect them to take the next step. Obviously, there's been a lot of conversation about whether or not Darius Garland is going to step up in that way, both filling a leadership void off the court, as well as being kind of that focal point of the offense on the court as well. So how these guys step up and kind of fill those leadership voids, what the expectations are, whether or not they feel putting maybe even just the play-in, a play-in berth as a realistic expectation. I think that's all going to be really fascinating, and I'm curious to hear what they have to say and what the expectations are as an organization.
Yeah, and worth reminding the gang, JB Bickerstaff is meant to be hitting the podium around 12:30, but it ain't our first Media Day rodeo, partner. Times are suggestions, not confirmations. We'll be keeping an eye on that podium that you can see on your stream there to kind of make sure we don't miss anybody. But we're really, really excited about kind of what we're going to get to hear from these guys.
What player are you most looking forward to hearing from today? Because obviously there's a lot of really interesting storylines and directions that this can go, and I'm curious about your thoughts.
I will say I'm actually pretty interested in hearing from Kevin. He has not gotten a lot of opportunity to shape his own narrative as of late, and kind of just getting a sense of what he kind of feels about heading into the season. I think there's been a lot of consternation around him. Some pretty well earned, some that maybe is a little unfair. And I want to see kind of where his headspace is at, because we've talked about it. Sometimes we talk just me and you, like as though Kevin is like not on the team anymore, and he's still there. He's still really, really important, and getting a sense of kind of where he is physically and where his head is at going into the season is really, really interesting to me. I'm curious what you think about that.
I totally agree. And it kind of crystallized in a way for me when I was listening to Darius Garland's interview with Mike Scotto, because he mentioned how important Kevin Love has been as a leader off the floor. And I think people assume because he missed so much time last year that there wasn't really a presence that Kevin Love was establishing with the roster. But you see time and time again, all these young guys really credit him for what he does off the floor. And I mean, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a transition. There's a lot invested into that 4 or 5 position with young players that you would expect get playing time. So hearing his feelings on that transition and some of his reflections, I think is going to be really interesting, because I do find that Kevin Love has been really honest at times, really open about his process in trying to become a leader, some of the setbacks that have been there. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from him. And the other player I'm really looking forward to hearing from is Colin Sexton. We haven't heard a lot from him over this offseason. And I think because he had already reached such a high level last season where he's putting up borderline all-star numbers and was really starting to show a little more polish in his game, I think sometimes he gets overlooked. There isn't as much of a conversation about what he can add to his games and making another leap. But at the same time, this is a guy that has consistently throughout his entire career made leaps from season to season. So hearing what he worked on, kind of what his mindset is going into this season, obviously no contract extension yet, but still time for that. Hearing from Sexton, I think is going to be really interesting today.
Justin, looks like our friends Kobe Altman and JB Bickerstaff are hitting the podium. So we're just going to go ahead and shut up and go to these folks live.
All right, here we go.
What's that?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you can hear me. JB and Kobe, can y'all hear me?
Absolutely, DJ.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Media Day. Also, welcome back to Cleveland Clinic Courts. Before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. So please remember to wear your mask at all times today and maintain the appropriate social distance from our players and coaches. We really appreciate that. As we always do with our avails, please identify yourself and your outlet before asking your question. For those of you in person, there is a mic stationed to your left near the television where you hear my voice. Once I see you standing there, I can call on you for questions. For those of you on Zoom, just use the icon on the screen to raise your hand. We will take questions both from Zoom and in person. So without any further instruction and ado, I want to introduce our General Manager, Mr. Kobe Altman, and our head coach, JB Bickerstaff. Guys, I'll turn it over to you, and let's get this started.
Yeah, BJ, I think we're just going to open up for questions.
All right.
Recording in progress.
All right. If we're opening up for questions, if our guys on site can give me a video look at the mic. And again, everyone, we are open for questions as well for those on Zoom. Looks like we are starting in person there with Chris Theodore. Chris, take it away.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Good to see you guys.
Welcome back. Good to see you too.
Thank you. Kobe, what are the expectations for this season?
Good question. I mean, I'd start by saying, first, this was an incredible summer for us in a lot of ways. Obviously, I think we added a lot of talent through the draft, through trade, obviously extending Jared Allen for 5 years. And so there was a lot of successes made on paper just in terms of our talent level. And then sort of the atmosphere that JB's created, the building here is a welcoming place. And we had a lot of guys back all summer. We had guys come visit us in Vegas, prominent players, starters on this team, be with the Summer League team in Vegas to create continuity, synergy, and excitement. And then in September 8th, the first day after Labor Day, we had the most guys in the building I've seen since I've been here. And so we've had a lot of successes already in this offseason, which is a great start. And we want to take a step forward. I think everyone from the players to the staff to the front office, we want to take a step forward. I think organically we are going to get better because we have, even the young guys have a lot of minutes under their belt. How do we put that together into some tangible success and wins and be competing and be looking towards postseason, towards the end of the season? So not going to put a number on it, win-loss number on it, but we want to take a step forward. And I think, and I'm sure we'll go deeper into the personnel that we have in-house now. I think they all are excited about this year and moving this thing forward. So in terms of expectations, we want to be better. We want to be winning more games. We want to be fighting towards the end of the season with the eye on the postseason, is sort of the expectations that we internally have.
And then, JB, for you heading into training camp, how, if at all, is the approach with this particular group different than maybe it was last year when you were in your first full season?
Yeah, I think the approach is the same, and the consistency is what our guys appreciate. We're not going to change who we are. We're not going to change how we've gone about business because we think we've done it the right way, right? We've created something that our guys that have been with us want to be a part of. And that's the reason they kept coming back in the summer. That's the reason they they came out to Vegas. That's the reason why they came here September 8th, is because of the environment that we've created here and that they've helped create. And they deserve the credit because we come to work with them every day, and their positive attitudes and the energy that they bring is what creates that environment that we're looking for. So, from that standpoint, we'll be consistent because we feel like it's working. The exciting part is the opportunity that we have in front of us. We have an opportunity, to have our thumb on and have an imprint on our style of play, how we can engage with the fans, the energy that we can bring to the game, and those things. So, the changes that were made over the summer, we believe in, the pieces that are here that give us an opportunity to play an exciting brand of basketball. And that's what we're looking forward to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marla Ridenauer, Akron Beacon Journal. This is for both you and both of you guys. Just how is Kevin, especially considering the Olympic team thing, is he in better shape now? And is he prepared, to handle, a change in his role possibly?
Good question. How you doing, Marla?
Good.
Good. So Kevin was in town early last week in great spirits. We always are in touch with Kevin during the summers. I actually visit him in Vegas during USA Basketball, and he's doing well. I think he understands that he needs to be healthy to help us, and that's priority number one for us. A healthy Kevin Love helps us on the basketball floor. He helps us off the court. He still remains a mentor to these guys. They look up to him, and I think for us, figuring out how we can establish him on the court to help us is a challenge, but it's a good challenge for us to have because he helps us. And I'll let Coach talk about sort of his role and obviously what he brings, but he's in great spirits. You'll talk to him later today. Listen, Kevin's been here a long time. I think now, going to this year, Cleveland's going to be his longest tenure of any team he's been on, obviously to Minnesota. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's ours, and look, we're fortunate to have him, and I really do think that he can help us still.
No, I agree. Depth is never a problem, right? It puts some pressure on us as coaches to figure it out, but depth is not a problem, and we're excited about what he can bring to the group of young guys that we have. He has the ability to play with all those guys. He has the ability to make all those guys better from point guard through center. right? With his skill set, his ability to shoot the ball, his ability to pass the ball. We keep talking about playing faster and creating more tempo and pace. He's still one of the greatest outlet passers, in the game. So that lends himself, to giving us that kickstart early when you need it to get up the floor and get out. So, it's a great problem to have, and the coaches will put the time in to figure it out. But we definitely believe there's plenty of room there for him to help us.
And when it comes to Colin, just, having a lot to play for this year with his contract situation, do you think that will affect him, or how do you think he'll cope with that?
I don't think that will ever affect Colin's internal drive. I don't think contract or anything else will ever affect that. He just innately loves this game and wants to get better. And when you look at what he did last year at 22 years old, averaging 24 points a game, doing it efficiently, how easy that's kind of just brushed aside like that's some easy feat. You can say, oh, it's a 22-win team. Someone's going to have to score on a team that has a win-loss record like that. It's just not the case. He gets better every single year, and this offseason is no different. And you could say, well, there's incentives behind that, but I don't agree with it. He came back stronger. He put a lot of work with the film study, with the coaches staff. He's been around in Cleveland, in Vegas, early on in September. He's been working on his game. Informal scrimmages that the players put together. He's been working on his playmaking skills, working on his defense. So, I'd never count him out in terms of getting better. And I would never say it's incentives that makes him want to get better. That's just who he is as a person. He's one of the hardest working guys I've ever been around, and he'll continue to get better. Do you have any comments on Colin?
Yeah, you get to know him, you spend time with him, you understand his real motivations. And he has something inside him that makes him want to be great. And, if he was just playing pickup or at the park, he'd be doing the same thing so he could be the best player at the park. Obviously, we live in a world where they get paid to do this, but, his drive is internal to be better than everybody else. And that's why he puts the work in, and that's what we expect him to continue to do this year and moving forward.
Just one more quick thing for JB. You were excited when you had 2 7-footers, and now you have Markkanen. Just what's that dynamic going to be like?
More exciting. No, they just allow you to do things because of their size and length and their versatility. They're not just big 7-foot stiffs, right? They're athletic, they're fast, they can cover ground, they can handle the ball, they can play make. They make their teammates better. So, offensively and defensively, you can be creative because they are so versatile in the way that they can move and get from one end of the floor to the other. So we're looking forward to it. And you got that, it's that mad scientist when you sit in your coaches' meetings and you guys just go back and forth and throw ideas off one another. They give you an opportunity to play different ways. You can play small with them. You can play big with them. You can play in the half court. So there's a lot of different things that we can do with them that we're looking forward to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, if you have questions from the Zoom, please raise your hand in the Zoom icon. Looks like we're going to Kelsey in person. Kelsey.
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey, Kelsey.
JB, this is more so for you. Looking back at last year, kind of getting a chance to review the season, look at the areas that you liked, things you didn't like. Coming into this season, what are those areas of emphasis and aspects of the game that you want to see guys work on as a team and improve on?
I think we need to become more modern. Last year I felt like we played too slow and we didn't create enough threes. So that's something that we've been, studying and figuring out how we can improve on that. And it's not one of those things where we're coming down and just jacking bad shots and saying we're playing faster and we're shooting more threes. It's simple things that we can do more quickly that get us into our offense, right? It's quicker outlets. It's a quicker first pass up the floor. It's quicker to our actions and those types of things. And then it's really, really attacking the paint. You attack the paint, you're trying to get to the rim for layups. You force defenses to help, and now the threes become open threes. So those are the things that we're working on and, looking to improve on the offensive end. And then, defensively, we got better from our first year here to last year, and we expect to take another jump, protecting the paint, defensive rebound, and those things that'll help us be better on that end as well.
And then for both of you, in terms of Darius, he had a really good season last year, went to the select team this summer. Those two aspects, how does that help him going into this third season, being the lead point guard and just kind of leading this team and taking that next step as well?
Sure, I'll let Coach talk about Darius's growing confidence. But what's, I think, really exciting for us is people are anticipating watching him play. I think the hard part for us, is sort of getting our guys on the national stage and getting some of the recognition that we think they deserve. He's put himself out there as this creative, imaginative point guard that can shoot 30-footers, that can get his teammates involved. He's just fun to watch. And that's how we want to play this year. We want to be exciting, up-tempo, a lot of creativity and imagination through not only the guards, but the bigs who can also really pass. But I think also him as a human being, people gravitate towards him. His smile, his personality, who he is as a person, and you start to see that come out this summer. He was around the most this offseason in Cleveland. He was in Vegas. He was here the start of September. He is all the way into helping this franchise grow. And I think people understand, second half of the season, really all season, but really second half of the season when you're starting to see him put together 10, 15, 20 games in a row of 20 points a game, 7 assists a game, 50% from the field, 40% from three. Wow, they have something there. And a really exciting playmaking point guard at 21 years old who's really just scratching the surface. So I think we're starting to see even more of that come out, and I think Coach can talk more about his confidence continue to evolve.
Well, and that's the difference, right, is the belief in self. Like, a lot of these guys are really, really talented, but when you're around them long enough, you can start to see, like, when it clicks that they believe, right? And, what you may consider a bad shot for that player now feels like a good shot for them, and they've got the willingness to take that shot over and over and over again. And you look at it, you see those guys who have taken that jump, right? And when they take that jump, they don't hang on to the shot or the play before. They know they've got to get busy on the next play. And I think that's where Darius is now. We were able to watch him play just the pickup games. And some of the shots that he was taking and making, those are shots of a guy who really believes. When you believe and you're willing to take more risks, the rewards are that much greater. And that's where he is right now. And that's the fun part of what we do, is being able to see that light come on and see guys pick it up. You can see it in Darius, even by the way he walks now.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from the Zoom environment. Kenny Rhoda, take it away, sir.
Thanks, BJ. JB, for you, my question is the three-point shooting. Obviously, you guys struggled at it last year. You've added a couple of 7-footers, one who can shoot the three, but how do you go about bettering your shot selection, I guess is the best way to put it, with threes, taking more threes, and becoming a better three-point shooting team overall to contend with the other teams and a three-point league?
Well, I think, as fun as the three-point shot is, and as much as we like to talk about it, you go back and study the numbers, teams that win the paint win the game. And that's something that we have to do. We have to dominate the paint, force those teams to help and try to take away the paint. Once they do that, now we're kicking out for threes to guys who have their feet set and are ready to shoot it. And obviously open shots have a higher rate of field goal percentage. So that's what we're aiming to do. Again, we're not going to be one of these teams that just comes down and jacks bad shots, right? We want to play with more tempo. We want to play with more pace. The more we run, the more the defense feels like they have to chase us, the more open opportunities we'll have early. we will take some early threes, right? We'll throw the ball ahead, and if we got proper floor balance, we'll take those looks. So we're not going away from that. We've got to get guys like Darius and Colin. We've got to get their numbers up. Even they're off the dribble threes, and give them the freedom to create those as well. So we'll get more, but then again, we just got to continue to take the right shot and do the right things by one another.
Thanks.
We'll go back to in person. Jeff Shudell.
Jeff Shudell, News Herald. This is for Kobe. Can you talk about your interest in Ben Simmons, and are you concerned if you do work a trade that he'll be kind of a headache for you like he is right now for the Sixers?
I'm not going to get into any rumors or hypotheticals regarding any other player in the NBA. All I can tell you is I'm extremely excited about what we have in-house right now. And the young guys that continue to get better, the guys we traded for, the guys that I can see from afar. I'm really excited about tomorrow's practice. That's where our focus is. How do we make these really talented young men in their own right come together and be successful and start to win? That's where our focus is.
Then let me ask this as a follow-up. All the injuries, and you can answer this one, JB, all the injuries you guys dealt with last year, how much do you think that slowed the growth of your team?
It was tough, to be honest with you. It was, what you're looking for and you're aiming for is consistency, right? And that's what the good teams have. They're consistency in performance, but there's also consistency within the roster as well. So it was tougher. What we were able to do is find individual cases of success, right? When you look at, Isaac's improvement, you look at Colin's improvement, Jarrett's improvement, Darius's improvement. Like, when you start to look at it from that standpoint, the individual successes will come together over time with that consistency, and that's how you become a better basketball team. So we have to take those individual things and those small wins, put them together, bring it back this year, and expect to accelerate that growth because of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go back to Zoom. Jason.
Hi, Jason Hurst, Stats Perform. Hey, JB. Hey, Kobe.
Hey,
obviously, you guys brought in Ricky Rubio to shore up the backup point guard spot for this year. I'm just wondering, what do you think he adds to the group, and what do you envision his role be this season?
So, as excited as I am to bring in Ricky Rubio, who we consider an international superstar and coming off an incredible Olympics, there's someone even more excited about Ricky sitting right next to me, so I'll let him take that question. But Ricky's really, really important for us and how we're going to take a step forward. We're tremendously excited to have him in-house.
Yeah, you look at his track record, right, of how he's helped basketball teams. You go to Utah, you go to Phoenix in the bubble, and what he's been able to do. And you listen, even, in Minnesota, you listen to his teammates talk about him, right, and how much he helps them. And that's why, I'm excited about having him here. I believe he's a starting point guard in this league. He is a top-tier point guard. There's no doubt about it. And with that, he has the flexibility to play with all of our guards. He brings great size. He has great vision. We talked to him over the summer after watching him play with the Spanish national team. You see what he was able to accomplish there. And, he wants this to be the best year of his career. And we're going to give him an opportunity to achieve that. And again, because of his size, his playmaking ability, his skill, like, we can see him on the floor in a bunch of different groups where, maybe it's a him, Darius, and Colin group all together. Because now you've got all those guys who can handle, but you got guys who can play in space. You're faster, more up-tempo. So we're going to be versatile. We're going to be creative with it, because of his ability to do so many different things. But, not just the basketball piece. You hear it over and over again, whether it was Devin Booker, talking about how much Ricky helped him and what he was able to show him. So, now he'll bring that to our young guys here as well, and that'll be extremely beneficial for him.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to in person for one or two more. Spencer, take it away.
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. What's up, guys?
What's up?
So you said it yourself. There is continuity. There is, young core, but they're also still with experience. So what does actually taking a step forward look like with that group? Because at this point, you got to start seeing that improvement at this age, even though they are still young.
I'll let Coach talk about, sort of what we're going to lay out from an expectation standpoint. I think, we tasked JB with a tough job the last couple of years, is give a pathway for our young, talented guys to grow. And so you saw Colin really improve. You saw Darius really improve. You saw Isaac last year really improve. And that was make sure that these guys get better because we want them to have long-lasting careers in a Cavaliers uniform. So that's a tough balance. I think now, collectively, like you said, Colin's young, but he has 3 full years of starting under his belt. Darius has a lot of minutes at the point guard position. Isaac actually led us in minutes last year. Jared Allen, at 23 years old, is going into his 5th year. And so there is some accomplishment under their belt already in terms of minutes played and success at their positions. How do we put that together, like you said, and tangibly make the improvement? I think we've made additions to help to that. Obviously, drafting an Evan Mobley, that level of talent's going to help right out of the gate. Adding Ricky Rubio, adding Lauri Markkanen, those kind of pieces really help. You still have Kevin Love in-house. But we're going to rely on heavily the young guys to take us there and put more pressure, put more expectation on them. And I think Colin said it best yesterday at our team dinner, is we got to hold each other accountable. Internally, they have to hold each other accountable to get better and take that next step forward.
We have to continue to do the right thing over and over again, right? And I think that'll be easy to see. And if you do that more often than not, it'll be easy to see in the wins and loss column as well. Our priority is teaching guys how to play winning basketball, right? Our guys' priority is always making winning plays. And those are simple things. They can be extremely small things. It's a rebound here, it's a loose ball there, it's the proper rotation, it's the extra pass, it's all those things. So if we're doing that, it'll be easy to see, and I think the translation will be there as well.
Do you think that at all in the past, whether it's the injuries, whether it's the losing streaks, that they will have this mental capacity now to handle these things going forward, especially the young guys having gone through that experience?
For sure. I mean, very few teams in our situation, are able to turn things around in 1 year, right? They go through very difficult times and difficult experiences, and then you start to get those calluses, so when you face that experience again, you're prepared for it and able to get through it more easily. And I think that's where our guys are now, and our guys are fed up. If you listen to them and you talk to them, they want to win basketball games. So now it's, hey, we got to learn how still, because we have a group that hasn't done it at this level, at a high level in the NBA yet. So we'll learn how to do it. But their willingness to do it and make those right plays and make the right decisions is there. And there's a hunger for it, and we just have to continue to feed it.
And then last one for me, just any parting words for Larry Nance, obviously a part of the organization for so many years, and obviously tough to move on.
I'll give you a story. You probably didn't want me to tell this, but this is the kind of person he is. On the way out, he gave every one of the staff, my front office, coaching staff, a signed jersey and a personalized bottle of wine where he wrote a personal note to each person. And it wasn't the same note to each person. It was individualized to each person. That's what kind of person Larry Nance is. He keeps his relationships. He knows that he's always going to be a part of the Cavaliers and be a part of this family. I think for him, wanting to take on a new challenge at this point in his career was something that we thought was mutually beneficial. Listen, this is a guy that's going to spend his off seasons in Cleveland. He's one of the only guys that said, "Thank you for rescuing me from LA," right? He spends his off seasons in Cleveland. And so we haven't heard the last of Larry Nance, not for a long time. And he's just a wonderful human being, and we wish him only the best in Portland. He's with a great group of guys out there, and obviously, like he always does, embraces that franchise, embraces that fan base, and so, we wish him the best. Anything for Larry?
Yeah, and for me, I don't even care about the basketball piece of it. Obviously, we'll miss what he did on the floor, but all the other stuff that he brought is most important, and that's what we'll miss the most, and he should be acknowledged for. Like the things that he did here in this community, the way that he brought his teammates together in that leadership role and helped mentor younger players. Like those are the things that'll mostly be missed, and it speaks to his character as a person. And that's the most important thing that we should acknowledge and that we'll miss from Larry not being here.
Thank you for the question, Spencer.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, we're gonna finish up with 3 more. We're gonna go with Chris Manning, Tony Mitchell, and then we'll close out with Chris Theodore at the mic in person. Take it away.
Greetings, gentlemen.
Go ahead, Tony.
Tony Mitchell from ESPN Radio Mansfield. Talk about the expectations for Evan Mobley this year. He's an exciting player, obviously. We're thrilled to have him here, but what are the expectations as a rookie, and where is his primary position going to be? He played a lot of center in college, obviously, but is he a power forward here?
I'll let Coach talk about the basketball side. I think for him, he's a proud young man. And he has a lot of expectations for himself, some high expectations for himself. I think for him, what's great is he's coming into a situation where there's a lot of other talented young men with him. And the weight of the franchise is not on him from day one. I think it's going to really give him a chance to evolve as a basketball player. He has a tremendous skill set at 7 feet. And we're going to use him all over the court. And I think you're going to see him continue to get stronger physically, and basketball-wise, he's going to get better game after game after game. He's also incredible basketball IQ and a great passer. And so he's going to be utilized all across the floor, and I'll let Coach talk more about that. But in terms of expectations, we want to push him, and we want him to get stronger in the weight room so he can really utilize all of those aspects. But there's not a weight of the world on his shoulders, just because we do have some real talent in-house that he fits with really well.
We obviously believe he's going to be a hell of a player, in the short term, in the long term. He's going to take some bumps, as all rookies do. Playing this schedule, getting adjusted to that and those things, the matchups that he's going to have to face every night. It's gonna be a fun ride for him. But what I know about him is, even from small things where, we do this conditioning shooting drill, and he wouldn't stop until he got it right and got it done. And it's not an easy drill by any means. So he sees challenges and he takes them head on and doesn't stop until he can succeed. And I think that's what you're gonna see from Evan. He is a dynamic two-way player, with the ability to play on both ends, switch out on smalls, move his feet, block shots. And philosophically, what I believe is if you have size and skill, I think that beats, the small ball. You look at the way the Lakers were constructed when they won the title 2 years ago. Right? They were playing big guys, but their big guys have skill. And I think that's what we have here. And again, we've got to help them continue to get better. But we feel like with that size and skill, we can be a problem. And, Evan, Jarrett, Lowry, you go on and on and on with that size and skill. And we feel confident that we can be effective with them on the floor. And it's not a position, right? We play in proper spacing. But a lot of our spots are interchangeable. You just have to have the skill to be in those spots, and Evan has the skill to be in all 5 of those spots.
Thank you. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Chris Manning.
Chris Manning, Dime.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Kobe, how are you? For both of you guys, now that you're back to a more 82, like the normal 82 game season, is that a relief that it's not going to be this compact 72 game kind of marathon of sorts like it was last year?
For sure. I mean, getting back to normal, although the NBA did send us on a West Coast trip right out of the gate. That's a 6-game West Coast trip, so I don't know if we're excited about that. So bear with us as we go through that usually comes in January, so that's a brutal part of the schedule. But we got to get back. We got to get back. The NBA, we have to get back into this normal cadence of events, and it's an exciting year for us. We have the All-Star game here in Cleveland, Ohio. I think it's a wonderful chance to showcase the city. I think I talk all the time about, high self-esteem recruiting. Like, we live in a wonderful city. This is a beautiful city, and I think our guys love being here this summer. They love being here in September, and it's a place they felt they can come back and get better at the game. And so, yes, it's great to get back to the 82-game schedule. But I do think that this is a great opportunity this year to showcase our city and where we are and the momentum that we have, and it being a great place for all athletes to come and get better at their craft and really love it here. And I think we have that right now.
Yeah, I think last year, I've talked to other coaches around the league. It was one of the more difficult years, that we faced. There was a lot of pressure to make sure that we continued to play games, to make sure we were structured, make sure we were organized, dealing with all the COVID protocols and all those things. So that was an added pressure than the pressures that just come with being a part of this game. We're looking forward to getting back to some normalcy, getting back to fans and being in the building, getting a feel of a real road game, you know what I mean? And having our guys play in crowds, in adverse crowds where, people are taunting them and yelling at them and, all those things. So, as normal as we can get to, we're looking forward to getting there. And again, catching that rhythm, because this is my 20th something year doing this, right? And it's like, we're so routine oriented. And last year that was disrupted. So it'll be good to get back to our normal routine.
Just one more follow-up. I know it's not the same as other markets in terms of the protocols locally, but are you guys happy with where you're at in terms of the percentage of the team that is vaccinated and won't potentially have to miss games because of health and safety protocols?
So we're really happy with where we are. I can confidently say within a few weeks we'll have everybody fully vaccinated. So we're really happy.
Thank you.
We'll wrap up with Chris Theodore and then begin bringing players to the podium. Chris, finish us off, please.
Hey, Kobe, how much of a priority is a Colin Sexton extension?
They give you a question limit? Like, is there a limit on questions?
Never.
No, listen, I'm not going to get into sort of any negotiations with players, but I think well enough to know we want him here long term, and he wants to be here long term. And so we're certainly working with his representation to see that through. But this is someone that's been with us since the start of this thing, in terms of where we've been the last 3 years. And we love him. We want him here long term, and we'll deal with that sort of behind closed doors. But the feelings are mutual in terms of something long term.
And then the last one for me, you mentioned how having somebody like Kevin Love is a benefit to you guys, and it's a good problem to have, trying to figure out all the minutes, and this is for either JB or Kobe or both. Is there a concern with a guy who has grown so used to a big role, big responsibility within a franchise, having to take a step back, and that turning into a bad problem and him not being happy with that particular role?
I'll let, again, Coach talk about the role, and I'll go back to what I said before. I think for us, our biggest priority is keeping him healthy and on the floor. We want that problem. Like in years past, we haven't had that problem because something would happen early on. He was dealing with it. It took him out for a while. Let's keep him healthy. Let's keep him in a range of minutes that will have him available and be super efficient within those minutes. And in those minutes, like I said, last year, there was no coincidence. When Darius really took off is when Kevin came back. He still creates tremendous gravity on the floor because he can really shoot. he can pass, and he knows how to play. And he has a respect of his peers. He respected the referees. He respected the league. And so having that former 5-time All-Star out there is never going to be a bad thing. I think from us, the player health standpoint, not just for him, is a big priority for us this year, and making sure everyone's available. And then it's a problem for Coach.
Thanks.
Yeah.
My trust is in him as a person, right? Like, he and I go back to his rookie year in Minnesota, and we've had a relationship over time ever since then. So I know what type of person he is. I know his character. I know he's got that competitive fire that, like all of us, sometimes comes out the wrong way, but it's for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like, you don't become the player that he is without having that burning desire to be great. So my expectation and trust is in him as a human being, to know that even through the tough times or the different times, like, I know what type of person he's going to be every single day.
All right, thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. Thank you, Kobe. We will start shuffling players through the podium area here shortly. Just give us a few minutes, please, to reset. Also, for those on Zoom, if I haven't given you permission yet, please check your browser. Everybody that asked, I gave yes to permission, but if it's not going through, you may have.
And welcome back. That was JB Bickerstaff and Kobe Altman. Really interesting things to hear from them. But now we are joined by a very special guest, one of the newest members of the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, Kevin Pangos. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, Justin is just tickled pink. You've got a fellow Canuck on the line here. Justin, I think, was the happiest person in the Cavs fan base to see a Canadian national team member be on the team again.
That's good. We're one big family in Canada, so always root for Canadians. I like that.
Absolutely. Actually, funny enough, one of the last live basketball games I was able to attend was watching Team Canada versus Nigeria in Winnipeg, exhibition game. So with the way that COVID went, that just happened to be one of the last times I went to see a game. But really excited to have you on the team and have you on with us. Could you give us some insight in kind of what the difference is preparing for your first camp here in the NBA versus what you're used to overseas?
Yeah, for me, it's just everything's new. I have in my mind the things that I think are going to happen and what the season's going to be like, what my role is going to be like, but I really have no idea, if I'm being honest. It's because this season is going to be very long. My role is going to be up there. I'm just going to try and help wherever I can. We're overseas. I've played there 6 years now, so it was pretty consistent. I knew most of the teams, I knew most of the staff, I knew most of the players because I either come in contact with them, I played with them, or played against them, and so I just knew what was going to happen. Where this is going to be brand new, and I don't say that in a bad way. I'm really excited about this opportunity and kind of the unknown and just how much I can grow from it. How much I can learn and just where my spots are to help this team. I'm really excited.
Kevin, we do have Kevin Love on the podium right now, so we unfortunately have to cut this short. We have one more question for you, though. For those who are new to your game, what should Cavs fans kind of be looking forward to? Like, what should we expect from you for people who maybe haven't gotten a chance to see you in the past?
Yeah, I just enjoy running a team. I like getting all the guys involved. I like getting to the paint, getting it to the big guys, getting to the shooters that are open. I try to read the game the best I can, and at the end of the day, I like to shoot the three. I like to space the floor. So those are all things I'm trying to bring to this team wherever I can.
One last thing before we transition.
Sneak one more in. Sneak one more in.
I need a transition, or I need to get one more in. This is your opportunity to talk some mess to your new teammates. Who is the best shooter on the team now that you've been around these guys?
You want me to say me? Is that the trick, eh?
Well, no. You can give any answer because I want everyone listening at home to know that this is a high bar that you're already bringing. Who is the best shooter here
on this team? You know what? I think I've seen Windler can really shoot the ball. K-Love is obviously a great shooter. Garland, I've seen shoot it really well since I've been here for a week or so. So these are all guys that can really see shooting the ball, and try and be in that category and see if I can be at the top of that list. But there's a bunch of great shooters here for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Kevin. We really appreciate you. But now we got to go to the other Kevin on the podium.
Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you. All right, have a good one.
Played against Lowry. I've seen Evan play, obviously at the wrong school with USC, but multi-talented kid. Can really pass the ball, something that I noticed, and is going to continue to develop into a really great player. And playing against Lowry, I mean, the guy that it seems like every time we played him was lighting us up, can shoot from deep, play in multiple positions, and is still very young in himself. So any way I can help myself and also help them improve. We have a pretty formidable front line when you throw in JA there, a couple of other guys that we have, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see and watching those guys grow.
Kind of building off that, actually, there's a lot of depth, obviously, in your front court and specifically at your position at power forward. Kind of going into the season, sort of as minutes work out and everything, are you excited about this aspect of that you do have this depth, but that it sort of can also affect minutes-wise, of just being able to play all of you guys at some point throughout the games?
Sure. No, for sure. And I think, it's going to be one of those situations where if a guy's playing great and affecting the team in the right way, he's going to play, as he should. I think I overheard, Kobe and JB talking about it. Bull said something last night about us all holding each other accountable, and that's me being in year 14 all the way to Evan. So I think that's something that kind of transcends wherever any team is at, and if you can truly apply that, I think it's only going to help everybody. So check all that other BS out the door, or at the door I should say, and then let's all come to play and play winning basketball.
Thank you.
We'll stay in person. Marla?
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. Kevin, after the Olympic team thing, did you change anything with your training, maybe ramp up, or has it been pretty steady this whole time?
Well, I'm always working. I just think, I had to, kind of take a step back and, really assess where I was. I think because, my pride had taken me into a place where I was like, okay, I'm ready. But it was clear to me that, I wasn't fully over getting in shape and getting that calf injury right. So I just took those next, 10, 12 weeks, whatever it may be, to just really focus on that, put my head down and just work.
One more thing about the minutes. And you mentioned the rear view mirror, comment a few months, whatever it was ago. Is it important to you still to start, or are you just as long as you contribute, isn't as important?
Yeah, I think just being the best version of myself and, playing, as many minutes as I earn, or, JB sees fit. I trust JB. I was his rookie. I know what it takes to earn minutes in this league. And like I said, guys are going to be playing great basketball. We have really good young basketball players on this team. So, for me, again, I just want to be the best version of myself, but more than anything, just be available.
And you mentioned Laurie a lot. Do you see a little bit of a young you or anything?
Nah, he's always been able to move a little bit better than me. It's impressive, honestly, the two guys I mentioned, including JA, but just all the intangible, all the different stuff that they do, as well as being really good human beings. I don't know if he hasn't been up here yet, but Laurie and I actually traveled to China together with Nike basketball, so I got to know him pretty well, learn about his family, where he's from, being Finnish. So, I'm interested and excited to get to know these guys and hopefully help bring them up to speed as quickly as I can.
Thank you.
Back to Chris.
Kevin, have you had a conversation with JB or Kobe about what your role is going to be? How do you envision it?
No, I haven't. I think that's probably a conversation that, will happen over the next, week or two. But, those are two guys that I'll continue to have conversations with, and, we'll see.
And with Larry not being here anymore, there's a bit of a leadership void. I know the organization is looking at some of the young guys to fill that, whether it be Colin or Darius. Darius was somebody that you were around with the select team. How, if at all, do you feel he has changed from that standpoint in terms of his ability to step into that leadership role?
I just think he knows who he is. Darius is a very talented player. He's also, again, like I said, a great human being. And I'm not saying that always transitions or adds up to being a great leader, but I feel like he has all the tools to be. And you can see it in the way that he plays, how everybody's been mentioning he's been playing here, but also I think just, finally, for him not playing many games in college, having his rookie year the way it was, and then, obviously last year going through the season, he finally got his legs underneath him, went through the NBA the second time. So I think you're going to see DG have a very big leap this year in terms of not only his productivity and play, which we saw at the end of the year last year, but in overall being a leader on this team and finding his voice. So I'm excited for him for that.
And then, a couple weeks ago, there was a lot of conversation about the buyout thing, and your agent told Woj that you weren't interested in one, and this is where you want to be. Is this where you want to be with the Cavs?
Well, the buyout had never even come up. I think that's speculation, and sometimes shit is thrown against the wall, and people are seeing who's going to read it and who's going to see it. So for me, it's never been a thing. I'm still sitting here year 14, as a Cav. And as, listen, it's a young team. That's, obviously where this is headed and where this is going. But what I'm going to try to be is, and like I've told Kobe and JB, a positive force. Wherever this ends up, I just want to make sure that at least internally and here when we walk into this building, that it's positive. When I, go to, it used to be Quicken Loans Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, I want it to be positive. And it's the same thing last year. We know what's going on, within the locker room. Everybody had their moments, me included, maybe me specifically, but I want to make sure that it's going to be positive so long as I'm donning a Cavs jersey.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll take our next question via Zoom. Ryan, please turn your camera on. You're up.
Hey, Kevin, after these last 2 years, we've kind of seen the importance of mental health treatment in this country. How important is that mission for you now after these last 2 years dealing with COVID and everything else going on in this country?
Yeah, that's, we're coming up here on World Mental Health Day on 10/10. We've obviously seen the rises in anxiety and depression go way up, as well as now just having reports of obesity going through the roof, especially with children. I think all of that leads to, overall poor mental health. So I think in the next couple of weeks here, you'll see me definitely talking about that more, exposing more things about that space. But again, another area outside of basketball where I want to be a positive force and really help people, not only in Cleveland or Ohio, but hopefully everywhere. I'll be able to touch a lot of people.
Thank you.
We'll stay in Zoom. Kenny? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute, Kenny.
Sorry about that. Sorry. Thanks, BJ. Kevin, for you, what are you most excited about with this team this year and whatever your role is?
Just seeing what it looks like on the floor. I think, and everybody's starting off, getting on the floor healthy. And these guys have been grinding really since Summer League, whether it be the new guys, whether it be, Isaac and Evan playing together in Summer League. Like there's a lot of excitement in the gym. We understand that, the core of this team is incredibly young, but I know that the coaching staff has really been, on these guys every single day to understand, schemes, understand getting better out there on the floor, what we want, what our identity is going to look like when we actually get rolling. So that's probably what I'm most excited about. I think every year is just a new opportunity. I head into year 14. Obviously, we don't know what this is going to look like. Our first practice or two practices are tomorrow, but I think just getting out on the floor and seeing what's possible is always the most exciting thing to start the year.
Thanks.
We'll go to Jeff Shudell in person. Jeff?
Jeff Shudell, News Herald. Hey, Kevin, you talked about all these rumors. Since you've been here, it's like you're being traded to 5 teams every summer. So what is that like? Does it ever just wear on you or what?
Yeah, I think from a strictly, forget Kevin Love, the basketball player. I think as a human, of course, like, you know, those are conversations that people are going to have, and whether it's been real or not, those are constant. But again, I've had to learn to let go of things that I can't control and just, you know, try to understand that flat out, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. Hopefully I learn from it, you know, gain something from it, humble myself, and just keep moving forward. So for me, I think that's something that's going to continue to be there, and that's fine. You know, so long as I'm here, I'm going to put my best foot forward and try to help everybody.
So is it more difficult earlier when these rumors started than it is now, or have you just let it roll off your back?
No, I think just being more comfortable in my own skin. I think, you know, it's maybe being numb to it is the wrong word, but the best thing you can do is just, you know, like I said, put your head down, grind, work hard, and let everything fall as it should.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll go back to Zoom, and I apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name, Sergen.
Thank you so much. Kevin, real quick question for you. You know, you're saying you're the longest tenured Cav, but you also have your teammate Jetty Osman going to his 5th season with the Cavaliers. What are you really expecting out of Jetty for this season?
I think just continuing to get better. I think, you know, kind of at his position, being able to play the 2 and the 3, that versatility always helps us. So Jetty has the size to get out transition, can shoot the ball, can get to the free throw line, make himself available cutting, and then on the defensive end, be able to guard, you know, really positions 1 through 4. So I think that's always a luxury when you're able to put a guy out there on the floor that plays like that.
Thank you, Kevin.
One more in Zoom, Vago Franklin.
Hey, how you doing, Kevin? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Go ahead with your question.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead with your question.
Perfect. What makes Colin Sexton a threat on the floor, and what do you think he needs to improve on?
Colin Sexton being on the floor is a threat. I mean, it's never. I mean, you're never not under duress when he has the ball. We watched a couple clips even last night at dinner, and this was just, you know, in the scrimmages, and he's just, you know, under control going that speed, and not a lot of people can do that. So, you know, I think it's devastating what he's able to do out there on the floor when he has the ball, when he's playing downhill. I think it's on us to knock down shots when he finds us, and also, you know, just free him up, the bigs to free him up and let him play his game. So I think he's, again, one of those guys that can put 20, 30 points on you in a hurry, and somebody who every single night is going to go out there and compete. I mean, I always say, I think we all said it, like, you don't get that nickname for a reason. So he can, you know, put the pressure on you and put points up in a hurry.
Thank you.
We're going to go with our last one in person, Spencer.
Spencer Davies, basketball.com. Hey, Kev, you guys obviously have a young team, but the young guys have experience now. So it's obviously tough to say, you know, when you're going to take that next step, but you kind of have to take that next step when you have these guys now. What does that look like, do you think, obviously other than the wins, that you see these guys coming together and using those experiences from the past of losing and the injuries and all that to move it forward?
I think it's just a belief, honestly, when you step on the floor that, you know we can win. They got to feel that, and that we can compete with anybody. I mean, we had guys, I mean, myself included, out last year, and, you know, we were competing or beating some of the best teams in the league, and we were right there. We were competitive. So it's that belief and understanding that, you know, when they take the floor, that, you know, they have the energy, the youth, the young legs, and are gaining more experience every day in order to win basketball games. So I think that's the attitude that they need to have, as well as just continued leadership from guys, as we mentioned earlier, like a DG, like a Colin, Even big Jarrett coming in and making it known, his presence known, having signed here. I think all of that is going to help everyone trend in the right direction, and I think especially the young guys really gaining their voice and settling themselves in as leaders.
And you've had obviously experiences ups and downs in this league, but for now, where you are in this point, what would you consider this season as a success for yourself individually when it comes to getting April to May?
Yeah, I think more than anything, just being available. I've been obviously very unlucky with some injuries, but I know if I'm feeling good, I'm going to play good. So for me, it's more than anything, it's just being available.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks.
You're all good, okay?
And that was Kevin Love joining us at the podium, or I guess not joining us, but joining the feed at the podium.
In a lot of ways, I think he did join us.
Yeah.
It's nice to have our guy Kev talk to us. Also nice to join the Cavs Media Day presented by Spencer Davies. Man is getting his volume in. Big shout to friend of the pod, Spin Davies, getting a lot of questions in.
And great questions, too. For all the listeners, you should be checking out his Keeping It 94 podcast as well as basketballnews.com. We plug our friends because we're just a friendly operation here. But I found Love's podium to be interesting. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to get any massive revelations in this forum, but just, the acknowledgement that, hey, my role has changed. I'm fine coming off the bench, whether I'm being counted on as a starter or coming off the bench. I'm going to try to be
Justin,
ready.
We have Laurie Markkinen on the podium right now.
Oh,
you want to go check on Laurie?
Why not check on Laurie?
We went through some stuff that we can do as a team, what our rules are and stuff like that, and then other than that, it was just hanging out, and I think we have a lot of new guys too, so it was just a lot us getting to know each other.
What do you feel is the vibe around the team as you head into training camp?
Really positive. That's what I've been happy to see, just coming in here and everybody's coming in this building, positive mindset and just ready to work. I think that's been really good for us, and we just got to keep that up. Obviously it's a grind during the season, and I think that can be definitely one of our powerful things that we can do. Everybody's just there for each other and be positive. So that's been really good for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Zoom. Kenny Rhoda.
Kenny Rhoda, WHBC Radio. Lowry, how surprised were you when the trade went down, and what was your initial reaction that it was Cleveland where you was ending up?
I wasn't really surprised. I kind of expected it, and so I wasn't surprised that it happened. I wasn't sure exactly where I'm going to end up, so it was my first experience with the free agency, and it took a little while, and so I'm glad to say that stress is over, and I'm happy to be in Cleveland. So I wasn't surprised that I was getting out of Chicago, but the destination was a little bit up in the air, and I'm just happy to be here now.
Upon arriving in Cleveland, have they specified your role, or is that to be determined as camp goes on?
I mean, of course, game's going to determine. I think we have a lot of young, talented guys that anybody can get hot on any given night. So I think it's going to depend on a game, but I think what me and Coach talked about, he expects me to be me, just be aggressive, not be one-dimensional, do different things on the floor offensively and defensively, and I think, I'm good to go. I'm motivated going into the year. I think we have a really good group of guys here with a good group of staff, so we're ready to work.
We'll go back to Kelsey in person.
Kelsey of The Athletic. Now that you've been here a few weeks, gotten to know the training staff and the coaching staff and the other guys as you guys have been around, how are you acclimating and gotten to especially work with Jarrett and Evan and just kind of that chemistry early on?
Oh, everything's been really smooth. I think the organization takes really good care of the guys. I was coming in not knowing anything, knowing where I'm going to stay at, how my teammates going to be, how the facility, everything works, and they've been doing a really good job just showing me around, and I think it's helped me a lot to adjust. And playing-wise, I think of course, it's a work in progress to getting on the same page with the guys, but we have I think all of us is ready to work, and that's what.
And that was Lauri Markkanen, the deceptively quick Lauri Markkanen. He raced to the podium before we were even expecting him.
He's this man. He is an athlete.
He truly is. But joining us today now is another athlete, Darius Garland, point guard of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Darius, how are you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing really well. Really happy to have you here. Let's start off with what you worked on this offseason. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement about you coming into this season, voted as the lead candidate to have a breakout season by a lot of executives around the league. What is it that you worked on this offseason that you think we can expect as fans to see this year?
Just to sit in my range. Also, just making shots off the dribble. Creating my own shot, getting space off my shot, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, Cavs fans, I think are people who do want to see you pull more from three and get those attempts up from distance as much as possible. I mean, what part of that is it in your game? Is it extending your range, getting more comfortable shooting off the dribble, or is it a mental thing where you go, I gotta pull when they're there, even if my playmaker brain tells me I want to get someone else a bucket.
Yeah, it's definitely the mental part of it. Just me having the confidence of taking those shots, and my teammates and coaching staff having the confidence in me. So, yeah, it's definitely a mental game because I'm always willing to pass the ball and get my teammates involved. So, yeah, definitely just me just shooting the ball and just having that mindset. I'm going to make the shot every time.
Well, you've got me excited. Can you walk us through kind of the early 5-on-5s and almost the pre-camp that you guys held, both your role in it and what type of a difference you think that's going to make for this team heading into this season?
I've just really been aggressive, on the ball, trying to get my teammates involved, and just trying to be a leader. Going to my third year this year, we have a lot of young guys. It's crazy because Evan calls me like his vet now. It's weird. So, I mean, it's kind of cool just having that name, but just being a leader, just trying to communicate a lot more. And, I mean, as a team standpoint, we have a lot of tools, a lot of great individual talent that we just have to piece together and make it one really good team. So, I'm really excited about this year.
What impact do you think getting together this early has had? I feel like, we've always, just being fans of the team, like we always see people, popping into Cleveland here and there, but it's like you had a full squad like 3 weeks ago, it feels like. Like, how much impact do you think it has getting those extra reps, especially being a younger team? Like basically having, like what Justin said, is like a pre-camp where you guys are already running together. Everyone already knows each other.
I mean, just building the camaraderie, just bringing that team atmosphere. So, I mean, just having everybody here is really fun, really good just to have people around, really, that you're going to be with all day, every day for the next 12 months, basically. So, yeah, just building the camaraderie, seeing all the guys' weaknesses and strengths, and just being around each other, like I said. Getting to know each other, getting to know Evan, getting to know Ricky, getting to know Larry. Just having those guys around is just super fun. Just getting familiar with the city with those guys. And, I mean, just being together.
Yeah.
Just really cool.
Yeah, I was listening to the road tripping podcast that Evan Mobley did with RJ and Channing, and
he was not
guy.
ready for RJ and Channing.
What those guys bring to the table, but he credited you as already putting him under your wing and being that vet, which is crazy, as you said, that already you're being talked about as a vet. But can you talk about some of your first impressions of Evan, both on and off the court, and kind of your excitement to get to work with him?
Yeah, Evan, he's a really good person. Really good person, really cool to be around. For a basketball standpoint, offensively, he can do a lot. He's a 7-footer that can really handle the ball, that can really shoot it. And one thing I didn't know, like, he can really pass. So that's really exciting. We can just play a lot, like the elbow series with him, so he can just pick apart a lot of defense with his passing, his playmaking, his shooting abilities. And then defensive-wise, he really prides himself on the defensive end. So a lot of rim protecting. He can switch on the guards, and he can move his feet and slide with a lot of guards to keep him in front. So I'm really excited to have him. It's probably going to be a lot of excitement with him.
Yeah, I want to ask about that defensive front court. You know, the idea of playing a guy like Isaac, a guy like Evan, and a guy like Jarrett. Like, how do you think that kind of helps? You know, like there's always going to be focus on you and Colin's size in the backcourt, but how much does having like that stout defensive front court help kind of balance that out?
Yeah, I think it's a great balance now. We have a lot of rim protecting. We can pressure the ball a lot more to try to send the smaller guards into those 7-footers that we have now. So, I think it's going to be really fun this year, really. It's probably going to be a lot of block shots and a lot of transition buckets. So that means it's going to be a lot of alley-oops, a lot of exciting plays on the offensive end as well.
When I was looking at the schedule release, I noticed that those first 3 games, you play Memphis, Charlotte, and Atlanta. That's 3 matchups right off the bat to open your season, where you're going against some of your peers, that these guys that you're trying to go up against and kind of establish your name as you play them in John Morant, LaMelo Ball, Trae Young. As a competitor, how excited are you for that opportunity to kind of make that first impression as you enter this season?
I'm super excited. And it's just not a match of the first 3 nights. It's every night at the Garden.
Right.
So it's going to be exciting. We have to prove myself. There's a target on my back now. So, I'm here to prove myself and show that I belong in this league. I'm one of the top guys in this league.
So, obviously this is a team that is could run out, we don't know the starting lineup yet, but there's been speculation that you could run out a starting lineup like average age 21 and a half or something like that. Like, how do you balance all that youth with, still winning games? I think you've probably learned a lot. I mean, if you look back at rookie year Darius versus this version of Darius, you're a different beast. So, like, how do you kind of battle against the fact that this is going to be a young team and a young core that is needed to deliver wins?
Just have to bring that intensity, really. We're a really young team, so we pride ourselves on conditioning, getting out on the open floor, try to outrun our opponents. And when we get to the fourth quarter, we have to keep our stamina up while some of the old guys are not with us since we're so young. So we're definitely priding ourselves on the conditioning factor. Just try to outrun a lot of teams. And it's enough time in the fourth quarter, we can hopefully just outlast them as many minutes as we can.
Well, I'm definitely ready for some up-tempo basketball. I think this team can really get out of run, and I'm excited for what that's going to look like, especially after last season, where I feel like we didn't really get a good feel of what the team even was with so many guys in and out of the lineup. Could you speak to your Team USA experience and kind of the biggest lessons that you learned from that?
Yeah, USA experience was probably one of my best basketball experiences I've ever had. It was just, I was with the best players in the world, and I was playing against the best players in the world. So, just the experience to having all the knowledge around me, all the coaches, the players in the locker room. It was, I can't really explain it, to be honest with you.
Was there a player that you kind of like got, because like you probably never had that much time with those dudes. I'm sure you've played them, you've gotten to know them a little bit, but like you've never had like practice day in and day out. Like, was there any players where you just like went like, oh damn, that's something I'm going to steal and add to my game? Like someone that you kind of gravitated to after playing, going through that camp experience with them.
Yeah, Damian Lillard, of course. He's one of my favorites from the point guard spot. And then even some of the opponents from the different countries, like Ricky. Ricky is a totally different beast in field basketball. I mean, he's really aggressive, and he really gets buckets at FIBA. Ricky was really nice. Campazo from Argentina. I mean, his passing ability is crazy, as you guys seen last year. And just like some of the older guys, like Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, they really took me under their wings and taught me some different things I could do in my position. So it was cool just interacting with a lot of guys from different countries and some vets I went to.
Yeah, and I guess you have the extended opportunity now with Ricky Rubio being your teammate to pick his brain throughout the season. How much does that mean to you, having a veteran point guard, someone that's been so successful both in the NBA and internationally, having him there to practice against, to talk to go over film with? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot to me, just having Ricky in the locker room. I'm glad that he's really right next to me in the locker room so I can actually pick his brain and learn from him. Ricky, he's been around the league a long time, and he helped a lot of young guys see their dreams and made them kind of successful, like D'Angelo Russell, Devin Booker. So I'm really excited. So he could probably teach me a couple of things to uplift my game as well. So I'm super excited about this.
We're excited too, Darius. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Forever, baby. Sexland forever.
Carter's got this shirt. I hope the nickname didn't cause too many headaches, but Carter absolutely had to rock that. And we're really excited to see what you and all the guys can do this season. So best of luck and all the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it, y'all.
Appreciate it, Darius. Man, how cool is that? We weren't expecting Darius today.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely not expecting it, and that was certainly a really cool experience. Great insight from Darius. I mean, I'm getting really excited about this team. I'm getting really excited about this team and this season. I just think that there's so much talent. I really do feel like there's been an infusion of talent, both from the growth we're expecting internally, as well as what new additions can bring. I mean, Ricky Rubio, how much do we talk last season about the absence of a backup point guard as a result of the injuries to Dante Exum as well as Matthew Dellavedova? Like the boost that you get from adding Rubio both on and off the court, I think it still hasn't got enough attention. I think it's going to be a really, really significant factor, especially when you're looking at a Cavs team that is so young when you look at the starting lineup, or at least the projected starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing. You have to insulate your youth with people in those position rooms that have, been around the block a time or two. I think in the guard room, you've got Ricky. In the big room, you've got Kevin, and you also have, you have Jarrett, who's been in the league for a little while now. And those guys are going to have such a burden on them from a leadership perspective. But it also, like, as you mentioned, it's Colin's fourth year. It's Darius's third year. I mean, he's already joking that Evan's calling him his vet, which I guess he is on this team.
Kobe was listening before he went to the podium because he pointed out that the young core does have experience despite their age. And once again, copying our notes, he's just taking it all from us, isn't he?
In a lot of ways, we're the shadow GMs of the Cleveland Cavaliers, is what I'm hearing. I think Darius looked mighty tall in the frame too. So we're controlling the narrative in a lot of ways here, Justin.
Yeah, but I do think that going back to that podium from JB Bickerstaff and Kobe Altman, I do think the most important thing is going to be consistency. It's going to be just finding ways to perform at a consistent level despite the youth.
Yeah, totally. It's feeling really, really exciting. I think we've got we really are getting our taste of what this team's expecting. Like Darius sounds like a guy who expects to catch some dubs.
No, absolutely. It seems like expectations are being raised, and I'm really interested to see how they go about achieving those goals this season. But it does look like we have another interview lined up underway. Carter, do you want to intro us to that?
Oh no, take us there, Justin.
Okay, joining us now, another Canadian, a fellow Canuck, Fiondo Kabengele. Fiondo, thank you so much for joining us. Really excited to have you on. Oh, looks like you're muted. We'll need to get that straightened out.
Okay,
there we go.
There we go. We got him.
All right, glad to be here.
Really happy to have you here. How was your off season? How are you doing? It's nice to have you on the pod.
It was great. The Cavs did a great job in keeping us together. We kind of did spurts together. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off together, doing our own thing, and then coming again as a collective. So they did a great job. And then we had Summer League, which was great. A lot of the guys who didn't play came out and supported us. So it was great. Leading up to training camp, we had a lot of great work. So it's been a great offseason, ready to get started.
What were some of the things that you focused on and prioritized in your training this offseason? Was there anything you were looking to add to your game, or was it just about doing what you've already done more consistently?
I think this offseason was mostly focused on shooting. Last year I didn't shoot so well, especially near the end of the season. And especially, helping these guys out, spacing the floor, helping Darius off ball screens and bull off ball screens. If I can space out the floor and knock down shots, that was just opening the game for everybody else. So that was the main thing that I focused on this offseason, knocking down shots, making the right plays, moving out the ball, and obviously setting ball screens and playing good defense and getting in shape. But the best part I really focused on especially was knocking down those shots.
You've been able to kind of now spend a little bit of time with the Cavs after joining mid-season. Kind of what is your summary of this team's been together for several weeks now, which doesn't always happen. I remember those more veteran laden Cavs teams of the past where guys are rolling up at camp, and you guys have had you've had a camp before a camp. What do you think the impact has been in terms of kind of getting everyone together, building camaraderie and building chemistry on and off the floor?
Oh, most definitely chemistry's being built. Those locker room talks are invaluable. Being on the car together in the locker room, just talking about the game with one another. Those things, it adds up and it equals wins. So you build that kind of bond with your teammates. So what the Cavs did by arranging us, making us be together, talking to each other, building that kind of bond, I feel like that gives them a lot of chemistry going on the court, going into training camp. We're not going in there like a bunch of strangers. We're familiar with each other. Recognize each other's games. We see how each other work throughout the season. So it's gonna be a lot of familiarity, going into training camp, which I'm really excited for.
One thing that I'm really interested to pick your brain about is just the changes in expectations of what people want from big men defensively in today's game, because the position has really evolved so much offensively, and I guess the Cavs are a great example of that. You have a traditional center in Jared Allen, you have Lauri Markkanen as a stretch big, and then Evan Mobley as just kind of this do-it-all guy. Right. What type of adjustments do you have to make as a defender as you go up against these guys in practice and the various styles that they have offensively?
Oh, definitely. There's different there's different approach to different guys, especially with Jared. He's like a traditional roller, traditional big man. So on those ball screens, the humongous threat, for lobs, quick slot passes, and for guys like Lauri and Evan who can stretch the floor out, you gotta be careful with those pops. So once you kind of go into those kind of defensive positions, you kind of have to be conscious of who you're dealing with. So. Myself personally, of course, I'm going to go hard and defend as much as I can. But when I see those kind of actions happening, I got to be aware of what kind of player this person is and prepare for those.
You got probably more minutes than anyone else on the Cavs so far in actual gameplay, playing next to Evan Mobley. What did you see from him in Summer League, and what have you seen since?
Oh, he's great. He reminds me a lot of Chris Bosh when I think of him, like a stretch forward who can move, shoot. Once he puts on some more weight, nothing a lot, but just a little more to be strong enough to, drive and make those kind of plays physically, he's going to be great. I love his motor. He's a great guy. He's in the gym, great attitude. I really like him. For a young guy, he picks up a lot of things quickly. We'll do drills, and he knows how to do the footwork quickly. His shot's really good, and he's super coachable. You can get on him about certain things, and he'll learn. So, being around him and playing pickup with him and in summer league with him, I've learned a lot just being around him, so he's been great.
It's funny because we just finished talking to Darius, and he was talking about how, despite this only being year 3 for him, he almost is being viewed as a leader and has to kind of step up in that way. You're also in a similar boat. I mean, at 24 years old, you're almost a veteran on this team. Do you feel comfortable kind of stepping up in and fulfilling some of those leadership responsibilities, or right now is it more about just solidifying your spot on the roster and within the rotation?
No, I mean, like we had a great. Kobe said a great thing yesterday. We had a team dinner. He said we want our team to be full of fountains rather than drains. Guys who can bring energy, more flow, bring those kind of energy towards the building. Is what we look for it, rather than guys sucking it out. So my job going into training camp is to be a fountain. A fountain of energy, fountain of everything. If that equals to leading in certain things or drills, whatever, so be it. If it means being a good soldier and following through, so be it. So, but my job is just to bring energy, be myself. And when I've been myself around this team, guys have listened, guys have cooperated, which has been great, and we've been bouncing off each other, learning new things from each other. So, if I bring that kind of energy towards training camp, I think it'll flow perfectly.
Yeah, one of the kind of the big buzzwords that's been around this organization the last year or two, and is accountability, and everyone kind of says that's kind of the key to taking potential and turning it into wins. What does it mean to you to be accountable, and for your teammates to be accountable and leading to success?
I mean, for one, it starts off with the little details: how you carry yourself, how you eat, how you sleep, what you drink, what you take in, how you work out, the things you do outside of practice, because, practice is a big part of how we get down. But if you take that extra effort and work on yourself alone or with a group of guys on your game or your body, your mind, away from practice, that kind of thing elevates it. And when after you take care of yourself, you can look to the next man and help him out. So I think it's a trickling effect. I feel like once guys, hone in on themselves and focus on what they need to do, it's been much easier to call out other guys to step it up because everyone's trying to attain the same thing. So when everyone's kind of taking care of themselves and doing those kind of things, accountability and calling each other out is going to be easily and flow fluidly.
Well, I definitely feel like you are going to be a fountain for this team because you brought the energy for us as well, and we really appreciate that. All the best for you this season, Fiondo. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, Justin. Well, we got more podium talk. We got J.A. at the podium, so we're going to head straight to him now.
Thank you.
Chris Fedor.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Good to see you in person, Jarrett.
Good to see you too.
You were around the team in Vegas at Summer League, and you were part of the voluntary workouts here at the facility. What do you feel like is the vibe around this team heading into this training camp?
We're ready to work. We're ready to go in and show what it takes to win. We haven't really felt what it's like to win, so we're ready to put everything that we have in us into doing that.
How do you take the next step as a team?
Going into the season to play meaningful games at the end of the year. I know we've heard that a million times, and we're going to reiterate that a million times because that's something that we truly do believe that we can do.
Thank you.
No problem.
We'll take our next question from Zone, Kenny Rhoda.
Kenny Rhoda, WHBC Radio. Jared, some guys are motivated by money. Others are motivated by stardom. Well, guess what? The money's out of the way for you now. You got a nice contract there. So where does the other motivation come for you now after getting that big contract?
I don't think the motivation has ever really changed. It never really was money. It never really was fame. It really was just learning the game and trying to become the best at something that I can be. I feel like that's always been my sort of thing, whether it's trying to be the best at a certain video game, at a certain electronic thing, and now it's trying to be the best at my position in basketball. So that's what I'm going to keep on doing.
Was there one specific thing you worked on this offseason that you really wanted to improve on?
I want to improve on whenever I catch the ball, making the right move, whether that's passing to the corner or just playing one-on-one basketball. I really think I can take a next step in playing one-on-one, trying to get by my defender.
Thanks.
No problem.
We'll go back to in person. Kelsey.
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. Hey, Jarrett.
Hello.
What excites you about playing alongside Evan and just kind of this potential for the front court that you guys have?
The thing that excites me is the versatility. He's able to shoot the ball. He's able to put it on the floor. He's able to get in the post and go to work. And especially on defense, we complement each other well. We're both, he's 7 foot, I'm near, but we both can protect the rim well. We both complement every part of our game well.
And then we've heard a lot today kind of about the sense of accountability for you guys and with the goals that you have in mind. For you specifically, what does that look like, holding your teammates accountable, holding yourself accountable, and how do you guys approach that aspect of it all?
Holding myself accountable first, it's something that I have to look on the inside. Do I need to take this extra hour of sleep? Do I need to eat this extra strawberry to make sure I'm at 100%? Just the small things that add up to a multiple of high-level things. And then for my teammates, just calling them out when they're not playing hard. It's the NBA. It's going to happen. It's not like I'm going to be mad at them. It's just the accountability of what we need to do to win.
And then you were out in Vegas, obviously, for a little while as well with some of the other guys. But that time, you had mentioned out there that it was a kind of a chance to build some chemistry even in that instance. How helpful is that coming into now training camp, all being in the same spot, being here for a little while, being able to work with everybody and just kind of continuing that chemistry building?
It's extremely helpful. Being together as early as possible that gives us more time to be able to bond, to be able to know how each other plays. In Vegas, we were on the court together. The guys that weren't playing Summer League were helping out the guys that were playing Summer League. And it just gave us a chance to know each other, know how each other plays. And that doesn't even include the time that we were hanging out off the court. I think, for me personally, off the court creates a stronger bond on the court, and I think we did an excellent job.
Thank you.
No problem.
We'll stay in person. Spencer.
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. Hey, Jared, what's going on, man?
Hello.
So you said it yourself, 5th year, 23 years old, but you're also being depended on as a leader. It seems there's a lot of that going on here. A lot of early 20s guys that have to step up in this leadership role.
Right.
But you guys are also hungry to win because you're kind of tired of hearing the same stuff over and over and over again. So, how is it that you guys actually do take that step and get to the point that you want to, and you're talking in April and May, and you're going for that spot?
Right. Well, that starts 2 months ago. That started in Vegas. That started before we even stepped foot in this gym of how we're going to become the winning team. I know, just being honest, the Cavs in the past couple of years haven't been the winning team. I think we all know that. So we really don't extremely know what it takes to be that high-level team, but we have had the vets in place to tell us what it needs to take. We've had coaches that know how to win, so it's now time for us to absorb that information and apply it.
Next year, as far as the injuries goes, losing streaks, what have you, mentally, how does that help you guys go forward, having experienced that and knowing how to handle when adversity does hit?
Right. I mean, you hear the stat of how many starting lineups we had last year. It's an insane amount. And just everybody felt like another week, another player went down, and it was time for the next person to step up, and so on and so forth. I think that's going to help us for this year. We're not going to look at these as negatives. I mean, obviously they are when your teammate goes down, but we're going to look at it as a way to strive, as a way for the next person to step up, take that role, and accomplish what we're trying to accomplish.
Looks like we're still in person. Chris Manning.
Chris Manning from Uprock. Hey, Jarrett.
Hello.
I know different personnel and everything, but is there anything from that Nets team you were on a couple years ago that made that run with you and some of the other younger guys that you feel like you learned from that season that is maybe applicable to this group?
It was, for that year, it was honestly one of my favorite years. We weren't looked as a team that were supposed to come in and make noise in the NBA. But at the end of the day, we all were hungry. We all were willing to learn, willing to sacrifice for each other. And comparing that to this team, you see a lot of the same things. Everybody's in here sacrificing for each other. Everybody's in here knowing what we need to do to try to become that winning team. And I think we can make that next step with this team.
And what do you imagine? Like I know you dabbled in threes last year and some of the other stuff. I know they wanted you to do more dribble handoffs and stuff. Do you imagine that is going to still be a thing for you this upcoming season?
I definitely do want to dabble in more threes. That's every big man's dream. So I'm definitely going to try to throw more up there and make sure they go in this time. So I think for any big in the NBA, that's going to be the next step, trying to make sure everybody can play 5 out.
Do you notice has it clogged things up even more now in the time you've been in the league when not everyone on the floor can't shoot? Like, is it a thing you guys just feel and notice even maybe more than you did a couple of years ago?
Say it again.
As far as like teams not guarding maybe a guy who's not going to shoot, do you notice that teams are sagging off even more, trying to clog the paint even more when there is like even one guy on the floor that's not going to shoot?
Absolutely, because you look at anybody in the NBA right now, it's hard to guard. Everybody's hard to guard. It's easy to get to the paint. It's easy to. I'm not saying it's super easy. Obviously, it's the NBA, but it's easier to get to the rim. Now you have guys that are able to, big men that are able to protect the rim at a high level. So if you're able to bring them away from the rim, that's what you want. So that's what my game is to strive to be able to bring that extra 5 men out to the perimeter. Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Zoom. Kenny?
Have you ever, Jared, been the 4th tallest player on your team? When you look at this roster right now, Taco 7'5", Evans 7 foot, Lowry 7 foot, you're 6'11". Have you ever been number 4?
I've never been number 4 before. It kind of feels weird seeing everybody being taller than you. You know, it's like this is how I felt in school. You know, everybody's looking up at me. I'm looking up at everybody else. But it's fun. It's a new experience, and I like new experiences.
So is there kind of a mini fraternity now on this team with you guys, seeing who can be the best big man in certain things where you'll have competitions throughout the year?
I think there's going to be little friendly competitions like that. And with any big community group like this, we're going to try to strive the best we can be and challenge each other.
Back to in person, Marla.
Marla Ridenauer, Akron Beacon Journal. Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Just wondering, did you do anything in the off season to sort of be able to better compete with the bigs, the beefy guys, you know what I mean?
All right, absolutely. Ever since I came into the league, ever since I came into college, that's always been one of my goals, to try to bulk up, to try to be able to battle down there with some of the best and the biggest bigs. So I made strides in the weight room, working with the strength and conditioning coach, the nutritionist, and just trying to become the best I can be down there.
Some weight on?
I did.
Are you allowed to say how much?
I am, but I'm going to keep it for the numbers when my official weight comes out.
Okay. And do you expect to see kind of a breakout year from Darius?
I am. Looking at Darius, look at how he's played in our pickup games, looking at how he's matured as a person and a player, I expect a lot out of him this season. Thank you.
Chris.
Jared, following up on that, when it comes to Darius, obviously there's a leadership void here because Larry is now in Portland. Mm-hmm. And I know the organization is looking at Darius to help fill that. Right. You've been with him for the last year now. Where do you feel like he has grown the most as a leader? And do you feel like he is ready to step into that?
I think he is. I'm not going to say he's perfect. You know, he still has work to do like all of us. But everybody on the team respects him and respects what he says in the huddle. Even if he's joking around, we're all have his back. If he's joking with coach, getting on him, we're going to all get on coach too. So we're going to follow him no matter what. And even on the court, when he says, "Oh, J.A., roll this way so I can get you a lob," I trust that he's going to be there for that next step. So I think he has what it takes to lead in terms of playing-wise and in terms of just making sure we're doing the right things off the court.
And then you mentioned it. For the last 3 years, I think you guys have a win total of 60, 22 wins last year. Outsiders aren't expecting a lot from this team. What do you see behind the scenes that maybe they don't see that makes you more confident in your guys' ability?
Just the fire in everybody's eyes. I think that's something that's definitely what people don't see. The fire of everybody coming in 30 minutes early to practice, staying 30 minutes late, doing that extra rep in the weight room, eating that extra meal for the nutritionist. We're doing all these extra steps that people don't see just so we can surprise people.
In any way, do you guys use that as fuel, motivation?
We do. I think that's not our number one reason, but it's definitely a reason why we want to come out and show people that the Cavs are back.
Thank you.
No problem.
Go with our last one from Zoom, Robert.
Thank you. Hi, Jared.
Hey.
Here, Robert Rodriguez from Planeta Cat, Spain. Nice to talk with you.
All right.
My question is, you are probably the youngest roster of the NBA, and could be the lineup with a few years of, if we could sum at all. Then, what we could expect with this team, this lineup, with the Sexton, Garland, Okoro, you, and probably four that we don't know nowadays, but Mobley or Lowry.
Right.
What is the ceiling of this team this season? What could we expect?
The thing, it's hard to put a ceiling on it for this year. We're all young, we're all hungry, we're all ready to fight. We all have things to prove. We're all trying to find our way in this NBA. So we're all going to come out there. We're all going to play our hardest. We're all going to try to show these people that we're here to fight. We're just not going to be a Cavs team that is an off night for you. Oh, I can't hear you.
Jared, thank you, man. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, everybody.
You heard it from the man himself. The Cavs are back. Jared Allen at the podium talking about just everything that he's gone through this offseason, the camaraderie with the rest of the young guys, and also a very important detail, Carter. I don't know if you caught this, but he confirmed the official weights and heights aren't out yet. So that little roster sheet that went circulating around before media day, I don't know if it's official, which is very important for height watch purposes.
Oh, it is very important. I cannot wait to see those measurements come in. And I think that Jared, he seems hungry, man. I'll tell you what. I do feel like he is ready. Like the what he said about the fire and the extra prep that the team is taking. It matters. It does matter for a young team. Though I will say, I think we have a friend here that is that can speak even further to this. In Jared Allen. Jared, do we have you live right now, Jared? Can you hear us?
Yes, you do. I can hear you guys well.
Perfect. I saw you getting harassed by Rafa. Don't let him take advantage of you there.
Oh, I won't. Mod squad, baby.
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your new contract, and we're really excited to have you back with the Cavs. After spending the majority of last season with the team, what was it about this group and this organization that really sold you on coming back to the team versus maybe testing the free agent market?
Just the vision. That's one of the main things with NBA teams. It's trying to sell your vision, trying to sell that you're ready to win, you're putting people in the place to win. And I completely trusted that. Completely trusted Kobe's vision, JB's, even the players around me.
So, I think when people talk about a player kind of in your role, in your archetype, there's always this idea like, oh, well, they've got to add like a knockdown 3-point jump shooter. They have to add, insane like skill jumps in different areas. But what I think people don't understand is that bigs get better in small ways all the time, especially young bigs like yourself. What kind of stuff are you working to get better at kind of in the margins that people might not think about?
Playmaking out of the pick and roll. It's one thing, anybody can go score out of the pick and roll, but sometimes it's not the best option for me to take the shot. I might need to kick it to another man in the corner that's wide open. There's other things other tangibles that I need to work on that I have been working on so that I can become better.
With Larry being gone, obviously there's a little bit of a leadership void both on and off the court. We spoke to Kevin Gelly before, who mentioned how everyone, you guys had a team dinner and discussed how everyone needs to be a fountain versus a drain, you know, bringing that energy and whatnot. Do you feel comfortable kind of stepping up on court in that vocal leader role? Because Darius is kind of the quarterback of the offense. In many ways, as the team's starting center, you're the quarterback of the defense back there.
Right. You know, and for me, I can talk on defense. You know, I'm be honest, I'm not the most vocal guy in terms of telling my teammates what to do. The way that I want to lead is to lead by example. You know, if I'm out there giving it my all on defense, telling people where screens are coming from, where they need to be, then I hope that the next person behind me or beside of me can do the same for me.
So, you know, obviously Evan Mobley's joining the team. And I think you probably know more than most how hard it is to be a defender at the big position in the NBA. You know, it does come with experience and reps. What kind of stuff are you teaching him about defending at an NBA level that really, you know, that will take him from being someone with a lot of tools to someone who actually raises the defensive floor of the team?
Just teaching them that not every bucket is going to be easy. Sometimes you're going to have to use your quickness. So, I mean, for him on offense, sometimes you're going to have to use your quickness. But for him on defense, do the 7-1, you know, and touch the basket without even jumping. You know? And he's super athletic. So just use all your gifts to your best ability, and you'll be able to defend anybody in the league.
You guys got together earlier than I think any other team, like the turnout in these early September 5-on-5 camps and whatnot. It's really exciting from our perspective to see you guys working on the chemistry. Can you speak towards what kind of a difference having that jump start on this season will make for you guys?
I think it's going to make a huge difference. Like you said, it's not usual for teams to have everybody back doing 5-on-5 runs. You know, everybody does it in an open gym with random people, you know, but playing with your teammates that brings everything to a different scale. We're learning each other's games, we're learning each other's tendencies, and plus we're always going to go hard against each other.
How difficult was it last season coming to a new team middle of the year in such a condensed season where there just wasn't much time to practice? There wasn't time to make adjustments to the fact that guys were in and out of the roster. How difficult was that for you?
You know, the most difficult part about that was coming here in the winter. I came in the dead winter. I didn't see the sun for 2 weeks.
It's just a gray landscape every day in Ohio, man.
Man, that part was rough. You know, the basketball part was easy. Everybody was so welcoming. So like, JA, be here at this time, be here. Oh, we expect this from you. You know, they knew it was going to be a tough transition for me, and they made it so much easier.
So I want to talk about the kind of the defensive potential of this team. Everyone always harps on the Sexland backcourt and being small, you know, being guys who teams want to pick on defensively. How different do you think it is in your ability to kind of help protect those guys on the back line, knowing that you've got Isaac, Evan, and you that can kind of help protect the paint?
Right. Well, I think it's going to be huge. We have Isaac. We have our running back, our Chubb. You know, he's just big linebacker. You know, so he's going to be there to guard anybody we need. And then you have Evan and I in the back, willing to protect the rim at any cost.
Does Evan being out there kind of allow you to play a little bit more aggressively defensively, like come up to the level of the screen a little bit more, knowing that you got someone back there on the back line that can protect you if someone does get through?
Absolutely. You know, it's not only me protecting the rim at a high level this year. We have Evan back there. I'm able to get up on the screens more. I'm able to not be more lax about protecting the rim, but be more attentive on defending my man on the rim.
I've got a bit of a fun question for you, Evan. Or Jared, sorry. Got all mixed up. Do you play 2K at all?
I do not.
You do not? Okay. You know what? It'll still work. If you could boost any of your attributes in real life like you can in 2K, if you could bump up any of your skill sets by 10 points, what would that be?
Ball handling.
Ball handling. Interesting. Just to be able to create a little bit more?
Just imagine seeing a 7'6" wingspan on 2K doing moves like Kyrie.
Hell yeah. What are you playing these days? I know you're a big gamer.
Right now, I'm playing Dead Space 2.
Oh, wow. That's a deep cut. Are you a single player guy most of the time?
I am.
Me too, man. I'm old now. I can't keep up with these kids, man.
I can't either.
Well, Jared, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate your time. All the best. We're happy to see you back in Cleveland and excited to see what you guys can do this season.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you so much.
Justin, we're going to kick it back over because I believe we have Darius on the podium right now. Right. And we can go check in with him. Now tell me straight, because I know we're done with interviews. Do you need to be all done for the day?
You know what? I think we'll wrap it up after Darius's podium. I can hang out until after that.
Oh, what a guy! What a guy! we're gonna head over to Darius now on the podium.
It was about the game. He helped a lot of young guards in this league. D'Angelo Russell, Devin Booker, and now they're all stars. So, I mean, I really want him to come in and really push me. So, I mean, I'm super excited that he's in the locker room with us every day. So I'm gonna really pick his brain a lot this year.
Is there anything he's told you? I mean, I know it's like you've only been here for a little bit, but anything early on he's told you that has stuck with you?
Early on, not yet, but I know he will for sure. I mean, when I was playing with USA, when we played Spain, he really got at us. So I've seen a lot already.
I will stay in person.
Tyler Carey, WKYC. Darius, there's been a lot of hype about your game this offseason and even toward the end of last year. I'm sure you've heard by now the comments Steph Curry made, raving about you. His exact words were, he's going to be a star one day. I know you're competing against him right now, but I'm sure you were in high school watching him win MVPs, win championships. What's it like to have a player of his caliber speak that highly of you?
Yeah, it's an honor. I mean, it's really cool just having one of the greats just talk so highly about me. But like you said, I mean, we're going against him in a couple months. So, I mean, he's still an opponent, but I mean, it's super cool just him talking about me. I'm super honored. It's super cool.
Do you feel any added pressure knowing that there's people around the league, not just Steph, but analysts and all that, talking about how good you're going to be, how good they think you're going to be?
No, it's no pressure. I don't really get into all the media, so, I mean, I'm just here to play my game and win basketball games.
Thank you.
Looks like we have one more from in person. We'll finish up with Chris.
Yeah, Darius, you guys won 22 games this past season, 19 the year before that. Not a lot of people are expecting a ton from you guys. What is it that you see behind the scenes that maybe other people don't see that make you feel like you can surprise people?
Like I said, we have a lot of great individual talent. And then when we just bring that to one team, I mean, I think that should really help us a lot. We have so many different pieces. We can go either way. Go with guards, that's really super dynamic. Great rim protection this year. Great leaders that can really help us. So, I mean, we have a lot of different ways that we can go this year. So, I mean, not really worried about the outside noise, worry about what's in here.
Thank you.
That's going to wrap it up for Darius. Thank you.
That was Darius Garland, who joined us earlier on the podcast. What a day, Carter. The media day is going to continue on without us moving forward, but I want to thank all the listeners.
Justin, when you see Ricky's hair, the flow is beautiful. Oh. He's just getting on the podium right now, but wrap your part up because I know you got to get to work, and then we'll just hang on podium the rest of the way.
Absolutely. So thank you to everyone that tuned in. I don't want to take up much of your time and be self-indulgent when there's people going up to the podium. So we will be back with regular episodes of the Chase Down Pod soon. And if you want to support us, leave a rating, leave a review, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, all that good stuff. And we will talk to you later.
Go Bye.
Encantado. Poder contigo otra vez. ahora que ya estás con el equipo, ahora que ya has entrenado, dime tus primeras sensaciones. ¿Cómo te sientes en el equipo?
Bien, bueno, aún no he entrenado individual, pero con el equipo aún no. Mañana ya empezaremos. Pero la organización muy bien desde el primer día, muy contento de estar en una organización que trata tan bien a los jugadores y con ganas de empezar y saber el rol. Al final, hasta que esto no empiece, va a tomar su tiempo.
Me guardo la pregunta para la siguiente, para de aquí a un mes.
Perfecto.
Igualmente, ¿crees que sensación físicas continuamos igual en el Mundial?
Sí, sin duda me siento muy bien. Físicamente creo que estoy siguiendo el plan adecuado para estar en mi mejor momento y esperemos rendir al mismo nivel.
Perfecto. Muchas gracias, Ricky.
De nada.
Thank you, Robert. We'll go back in person to Marla.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. Darius was just talking about your work with the guys who have become all-stars. Is there something key to that, like the communication between you two, or like what has been the key to kind of you becoming this sort of guard whisperer or something?
Yeah, all the credit is on me. I mean, they wouldn't be all-stars without me. No, I got lucky to really play with players like Donovan, Book, all those guys, really, really special guys. But of course, I just bring my experience, try to help them becoming better players. That's what I've been doing since I was young, make my teammates better and try to do this over here this year.
Is it a challenge to get them to realize the small details? I mean, I'm just wondering, what is the biggest thing that you have to sell them on when you first start?
It's more on them to ask than me saying. At the end of the day, they won't listen until they really ask or need to. You can be saying a lot of things, but the message won't be received until they're ready. And for that, you can't skip the process. Just a few players become all-stars the first or second year. It takes time to really settle your talent to the court and really get yourself. And with DA, at the end of the day, with Darius, he came to the league, and the second year he had like a really huge improvement. Does that improvement stop there? It's on him. Of course, it's on us to really help him become a better player, but it's on him to really want it more and don't be satisfied to just become who he was last year.
Thank you.
We'll stay in person. I can't make out who you are with the mask.
Danny Cunningham, ESPN Cleveland. Ricky, in the last couple of years, being around those younger guards, what have you learned about yourself as a leader and a player as you kind of help those guys along in their careers?
Bringing my experience, like I said, sharing what I learned, but at the end of the day, you can't skip the process, but you can like help them moving 1 or 2 steps forward where they at. It's something that you can't really tell what it is. It's about here one practice, here one day in the locker room, here one day in a road trip, seeing each other and trusting each other that we want the best for the team, but for ourselves as well. So it's something that it will take time. It doesn't come first practice. Here's the notebook and you have it. It's something that it will be every practice, every day, and in every detail.
And are all those situations similar to each other and similar to this one, or is each one just completely different?
All are different because they're different players, and you can't really put all in the same package. But at the end of the day, they have some things that are familiar with it. Young, talent, hungry. They have room to improve. They have minutes in a team, in a roster where we need them to succeed for the team to succeed. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that are in common, but each one of them are different.
We'll take our next question from Zoom. Jason.
Hey, Ricky. Obviously, you had a great summer for the Spanish national team. I'm wondering what you're going to try and bring from playing for Spain to Cleveland this season.
Yeah, I had a really good run, but I don't want that to stop there. I think I had kind of the same run in 2019 with the World Cup, and I brought that to Phoenix, and then the pandemic happened and kind of stopped my progression. But I feel like I'm in best shape and best mental way that I can be in my career. So I want that to really translate it on the court. I want to bring that confidence to the court, being and having my best year so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to in person, Spencer.
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. Hey, Ricky, how you doing?
What's up?
So, you get talked about a lot of what you bring to this team as a veteran and as a leader. But for you personally, what does it mean to you to hear these guys talk about you so glowingly?
I don't really listen to that, to be honest. At the end of the day, I am who I am with my mistakes and with the good, the bad things, and I will keep being myself. If it helps them, that's really good, and I feel good about that. But I'm going to keep being me, being on the court, talking to them, saying the tough things sometimes when things are not going our way. And at the end of the day, I don't like to talk much, but if I have to say something, I will. And hopefully they can take it in a good way.
How much does it help that you're so valued by this organization?
At the end of the day, when you feel like they want you here so bad, it feels good to be here. And it helps me to really be the best I can be. And hopefully I can translate my momentum going to the season and help this team take the next step, which is not easy. I've been in all kind of teams. But I think a young, talented team, there is a lot of teams that get lost because they don't take the next step. And I think it's the hardest one to do. When you have young, talented guys who are really good, but they can't do it every night in an 82-game schedule. I think that's mental toughness. I think that comes with experience as well. And being young is good and bad. It's good because you have all energy, you're hungry, but bad because you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Do we learn from those mistakes quickly or not quickly enough? I think it's been here 2-3 years where the rebuilding process has been in play. I think it's time to really show it. Are we sick of losing? Or are we just tired of losing? Two different things. So we will see how it is. We haven't really practiced and play a game together, but I'm excited to see what's coming.
When was the first time in your career that you realized you had to bring it every night, and like who made you realize that, at least in the NBA?
I saw in Utah, my first year, so the team just made the playoff, made the second round, and then they lose Gordon Hayward, and kind of like going to a rebuilding process. And it was Donovan's first year. And we had it, but we didn't like really click until like late January. And then we went on a run and made the playoff because we realized that we can't be playing around here and there. And we finished the season, I don't know, like 20-5 or something like that, and make the playoff and make the second round. But that first 2-3 months made us realize that you can't be playing around in this league. From the first day, the first game counts. And the more wins you get, I think the more enjoying season you will have. So we have to learn that quick. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our last two, one via Zoom. We'll go to Robert, and then we'll come back to you. I think we've got two more in person. Robert?
Hi, another time. Nunca me acuerdo de presentarme. Soy Roberto Reyes para Planeta Caps, España. Ricky, el otro día en el podcast me atreví a decir que después de todos los refuerzos que ha recibido este año los Caps, la segunda unidad de los Caps haría un gran papel en una Euroliga. ¿Qué piensas?
¿Que la ganaríamos? No, al final son dos juegos diferentes. La Euroliga y la NBA se juega de forma distinta. Se necesitan jugadores diferentes en cada liga, y sí que con mis amigos nos gusta también hacer ese tipo de juegos mentales, ¿no? Pero al final son dos juegos que se juegan muy diferente, a pesar de que sea baloncesto. El estilo de juego es muy diferente.
I la última, si m'ho permets, en català, què et sembla?
Sí, cap problema.
Creus que entén aquest jovent que comença ara, pot ser 18, 19, 20, que tu amb 16 ja eres professional?
No ho sé, però porto molts anys ja jugant, i això fa que l'experiència sigui un grau, i em senti més còmode cada cop que salto una pista, no? Perquè sé els errors que he comès, però sí que és veritat que al final jo també vaig vindre a la NBA amb 20 anys. Sí que és veritat que vaig jugar 4 o 5 a Europa abans, i això em va donar un gran avantatge.
Molt bé, moltes gràcies, Ricky.
De res.
We'll go with our last two in person. We'll go with Kyle first and then Max second.
Kyle Molinelli, WZIP Akron. Ricky, first off, welcome to Cleveland.
Thank you.
You kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, you've been a journeyman around the league for a little bit now, but you have a little bit of sense of familiarity here with Kevin Love when playing in Minnesota. How easy has that been? How has he made the transition easier coming to this new team, playing with him in the past? And what kind of knowledge can you further to the young guys when you guys have been playing together before?
Yeah, that really helps, seeing a familiar face, especially he's been here for a long time, and he knows everything that we need to know exactly. So it feels good to really play with a guy like him. We had a really good chemistry back in Minnesota, and hopefully we can pick that up over here. We haven't really practiced yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take it away, Mac.
Mac Robinson, 923 The Fan. Ricky, welcome to Cleveland.
Thank you.
Ricky, you mentioned the All-Star guards that you played with in the past. How does Darius stack up to those guys when you first started playing with them?
Haven't seen much him, but playing against him, which is, I have to give him a lot of credit. Like I said, the jump he made from first year to second year. He has a lot of weapons, a lot of tools that can be used. Really quick guard who can shoot, but know the game real well. And hopefully I can help him become a better player, but at the end of the day, it's up to him.
And of those other All-Star guards that you've played with as well, just seeing his game from afar, who do you think he most closely resembles in your mind?
I usually don't like to compare, because at the end of the day, everyone is unique, it's different. Like I said, he can shoot, but he can do a lot of stuff. He knows the game. He can be a really good point guard, but he can be a really shooting guard as well. So playing two positions, of course, being in the weight room, gaining some weight to muscle up with Donovan or Book. Those guys seems like they're not like strong, but they're really good core guys like Book. First time I went to practice with him, bumped him, and I didn't move him at all. Like, Okay, you got something there. So at the end of the day, it's how much you work in all areas, mental, on the weight room, on the court. It's not just one thing. And I think learning how to work in all over to be all-star, you have to work in overall all areas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's going to wrap it up for us, guys, with Ricky. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Evan Mobley will be next to the podium. It looks like he's coming right away. Hey, Evan, how you doing, bud?
How you doing?
Good, man. All right, we are open for questions for Evan. Again, if you're in person, you please go stand at the mic. And obviously, if you're on Zoom, just raise your hand with the icon button. And we're gonna start with Tony in person. Tony, take it away.
All right, Tony Mitchell from WRGM in Mansfield. Evan, welcome to Cleveland.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you here, and we hope you have a great season out here and a great career over here. So I kind of posed this question earlier, but what do you see yourself as bringing to the Cavaliers this year? More of a center, more of a power forward? What's your better skill?
I feel like overall I bring versatility. I feel like that's one of my strong suits, so I can be a center or a power forward. I can play on the wing a little bit, so I feel like that's where I'm going to be at most of this year. Probably playing inside, outside, so just all around the floor.
A lot of pressure being the third pick in the draft and coming into the NBA like you are?
There's always pressure, but I feel like I don't really focus into that. Just try to stay in the gym and just listen to the coaches, learn different things, and just get better at my own pace.
All right, good luck to you.
Yep.
We'll stay in person. Chris?
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, Evan, good to see you again.
How you doing?
Since finishing up Summer League, what has your approach been?
Just to really get comfortable in this new system, new area, like a lot of new things coming out. So I've been just trying to get comfortable with everything. I feel like I've been doing a great job. I'm definitely feeling a lot more comfortable and going out there, and I'm definitely ready for the season.
You were with the squad in Summer League, and obviously you were here for the voluntary workouts that you guys did as a group. What's your vibe around this team? How are you feeling about this group heading into your first training camp?
I'm very excited. We're a very young team. We also have some older vets, so we can learn from each side of the spectrum. A lot of the young guys, I feel like, have a lot of energy, and like we can come out and surprise a lot of teams. So that's what I'm really excited about.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll take our next question from Zoom. Kenny?
Kenny wrote at WHBC Radio. And Evan, was there something specifically after the Cavaliers drafted you that they told you, you need to work on this, or we need you to improve in this area?
Nothing specifically they told me necessarily. I feel like just overall, you just always got to improve on different things. There's always things to get better at. I'm definitely going to be focusing a lot on staying in the weight room and getting bigger. I feel like that's a point of emphasis that they would like me to work on. So just like a lot of areas that I'm just focusing on working on and just trying to get better.
Have you sought any advice from NBA players about what the jump is like making it? There's a jump from high school to college and then a bigger jump from college to the NBA level. Have you reached out to anybody to get some info on that to help you make this transition?
I definitely talked to a lot of the players on the team, like Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, a lot of the younger players, because they recently went through it. So they told me there's a lot more games, a lot more stuff going on and stuff. So I'm just trying to take it all in, learn from them, and hopefully make it through the season real easy, nice and smooth.
Thanks.
Yep.
Go back to Chris Manning.
Chris Manning from Upbrox. Evan, how do you manage adding weight but still kind of taking advantage of the quickness and stuff you have at this size?
I feel like you add weight at a regular pace, not try to force anything on, just naturally, like with time, gaining weight, just staying in the weight room consistently. I feel like that will definitely pick up my weight and not hold my mobility or agility back.
Much bigger than you were at the end of the USC season, do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
And just one last thing, do you expect to start from day one, and does it matter to you if you're starting from day one?
It doesn't necessarily matter. I just want to be here and help the team as much as I can. So I'm just here to learn, get better, and I'm not expecting anything.
We'll stay in person. Kelsey.
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. Hey, Evan, nice to see you.
How you doing?
Good. Kind of looking back at Summer League, getting a chance to evaluate after the fact, what was your biggest takeaway about just kind of your transition to the league, even in Summer League?
I feel like the biggest takeaway was the pace of the game and how it's played. It's definitely played a lot different than college, so you have to adjust to that. But I feel like I'm adjusting pretty fast, pretty well, and so this season I feel like I'm ready to come out and do well.
And you touched on it a little bit, but talking to some of the younger guys about this transition to the NBA, so kind of knowing that heading in that there are, ups and downs as you figure out your first year in the league, how does that shape your mindset just about this overall season?
I feel like I'm just ready for anything that comes my way. I'm just gonna take it day by day, night by night, minute by minute, and just do the best I can. And whatever the result is, that's the result.
And then earlier we heard that there's kind of this, there's an accountability factor for you guys. And you even being so young and with this young group, how can you help hold this team accountable and hold yourself accountable to make the goals that you guys want to?
Just being there for my teammates, talking to my teammates, whatever they need, help them out, vice versa for me. I feel like that would really help the team. I just want to come out and make my presence known, and hopefully we come out this season with a lot of wins. So.
Thank you.
Evan.
Evan Damerol, Facebook News. Evan, there's obviously a reason why you're a pick third overall. This is a young, inexperienced team, and they haven't won a lot in the last few years. And you mentioned there's pressure being the third overall pick. But is the pressure relieved a little bit when you come into a team that is so young and talented like this one?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like we are on the come up. We have a lot of good pieces here that we can really make some things happen this year. So I'm really excited for what's to come.
And has Jarrett tried to push the all-big lineup on you at all?
A little bit, but Jarrett, he's a great guy. I like him a lot. He's definitely taught me a lot as well. So I'm just learning from everybody here.
Thanks.
We'll go with our last question for Evan with Spencer.
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. Evan, just overall this first day, media day, the lights and all that stuff, how you taking it in and what's this experience been like for you, just this?
I feel like it's great. I can't wait to see the results of all these pictures and everything. But yeah, it's a great experience overall. Talking to all these people, different media and stuff, is fun.
As far as after you getting drafted, it's been a lot of talk, but you guys got some run-in here the last few weeks. What have your first impressions been of the team? How you guys getting up and down the floor and all that with chemistry and whatnot?
I feel like we're coming together pretty well. We're definitely molding, getting comfortable with each other, knowing each other's tendencies. So I feel like that's coming along very well with the playing that we've been doing. So
you didn't have to lie about the media.
All right, thanks everybody. That's going to wrap it up for Evan. Our next podium speaker will be Colin Sexton momentarily. Stand by, please. Hey, Colin.
Let's do it.
All right, we are open for questions with Colin Sexton. Again, for those in person, please go to the standing mic. For those on Zoom, please raise your hand with the hand icon. Looks like we're starting with in person, Chris.
Hey, Colin. Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. What's up, man?
What's up?
What do you feel like is the next step for you personally as a player?
Just pretty much just my decision making and getting others involved and just pretty much just continuing to pick it up on the defensive end. Other than that, I feel like everything else is just continue to getting better, and I feel like I'm starting to get a rhythm and understand like what I can and can't do and what's going to help me as I move forward.
When the Cavs were making the moves that they made this offseason, what was your reaction to that?
I was excited. Especially like us getting guys in, and for me, it was like just learning new people, pretty much. It's like someone else comes to school and it's just like, all right, I can't wait to understand it. And also like us playing against like Laurie, like Taco, you know what I mean, like Denzel, you know what I mean. So like and Ricky, like just us being able to bring those guys into our culture, it was huge for us.
Colin, for you, how important would it be to get a contract extension done before the season?
Well, Kobe and my agent, they're in contacts and stuff and that, but I focus on the main thing, and that's basketball. I go out here and work hard each and every day, and I focus on the business part. It's gonna take care of itself, but I love this game, and that's what I do, so that's it.
The guys so far have been talking about the team dinner last night, and one of the things that they took away was the message that you sent about accountability.
Right.
That's so important for you to deliver.
It's huge. We got to hold each other accountable. I feel like we got to make sure we're doing what's supposed to, and know that it's coming from a good place. And know like guys they want the best for us. If I see Darius not doing what he's supposed to, or I see him messing around, I'm going to let him know. He's going to let me know if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. Like, even in the games, even last year, even in the summer, he like, come on, two, let's go. Like, or even like Kevin Love, like everyone should be able to say something to each other and know that it's coming from a good place and the right heart, because at the end of the day, we all have one goal, and that's to win. We all want to win. We all feel that we know how it feels to lose, and we want to change it and turn it around and just continue to build. And I feel like with JB coming in this summer, we've been here pretty early and getting to it. That's it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll stay in person. Marla.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. Great to see you, Colin.
Thank you.
Just on the contract thing, how do you put that uncertainty of the future out of your mind?
I just play basketball. I come in every day ready to work. At the end of the day, everything is going to fall in its place, and I just come in with a clear mindset. I'm here for the team. My team wants me here, and I want to be here. So every day I come to work, I'm going to give it my 110% for myself, for the organization, and for my family. So.
Was there a point you thought you had to prove something, or do you still feel that way to Kobe or the team, the organization?
Oh, not at all. They love me. My teammates love me. I love being here, and only people that we're proving are those out there, and proving that we can win, and we have a good thing going here in Cleveland. Those are the only people we're proving, and that's how I think about it each and every day. I wake up like, all right. It's time. Let's prove that we can do this. Let's prove that this. They said I couldn't shoot. They said I couldn't get teammates involved. So now I'm here to show it.
And Ricky just said something a little bit ago about there's a difference between being sick of losing and tired of losing. You know, like internally, I'm sure he means.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get that? And how do you convey that to everybody else?
I feel it a little bit different just because I've been here the past 3 years, and we haven't had really good seasons like we want to. But I feel like this is the year for us to continue to take that next jump. We all have goals individual, but let's come bring those individual goals together as a team, and let's win games. That's it. At the end of the day, we all want to win games, and it feels good to win. We all know like how it feels to lose, so now it's like, okay, we done got our losses out the way, so let's put it together.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Zoom. Kenny.
Kenny wrote a WHBC radio. Colin, the great players throughout the history of the game always said in the offseason, I'm going to pick one thing out that's a weakness and work on it so teams can't exploit it the next season.
Right.
What area did you focus on this offseason to get better at so teams maybe can't exploit it?
I pretty much I locked in on film. So off the court, I locked in on a lot of film and worked on a lot of like flexibility and a lot of different things like that. But then on the court, I worked on a lot of like pick and roll actions. If they go under, just being able to read really fast. If they go under, shoot it every time. If it's like, if I'm open, you know what I mean? Just so that makes them go over the top. And when they go over the top, then I'll be able to get whatever else I want, but just making sure that I focus on going the threes off the dribble as well, and the under threes, because teams were going under a lot last year, and I was shooting here and there, but this year I'm gonna let it fly.
What would it mean to you as a lottery pick, along with Darius and now Evan as the 3rd overall pick, if this team could get to the playoffs? Because both times after LeBron left, the team hasn't made the playoffs. This would be a first. What would that mean to you as the elder statesman of those lottery picks?
It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot to myself, just the hard work that I put in, and then also the hard work my teammates and I put in together, and then also the organization for putting this together. At the end of the day, like, we understand how important it is to make it to the playoffs, but we do know it's not easy, and it's one game at a time and one day at a time and one possession at a time. So we have to just pretty much just move forward and think that way and just take it day by day. That's it.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
We'll go back to in person.
Okay.
Colin, Jeff Longville, WZIP Akron. You're going into your 4th year, and you're one of the longest tenured Cavs. Do you find yourself taking on more of a leadership role with the more experience that you get?
Absolutely. I feel like I'm able to use my leadership a little bit better, and pretty much just be vocal, be more of a vocal leader. I know like that's something I had to work on my last couple of years, just being more talkative and just doing things like that shows my teammates that I'm here for you. You know what I mean? So like whether it's talking, whether it's shooting them a text, seeing how they're doing in the summer, just the little things is going to go the long way. And then also just continue to lead by example. I feel like I'm the hardest worker here and also one of the hardest workers in the league. So that's just leading by example. That's it.
And then you're really close with Isaac Okoro. What can we expect from him in his 2nd year?
Isaac going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to get better. This will be his 2nd year, so he has game reps under his belt, and he knows how they're going to call the games. He knows, like, all right, I can't hand check against this guy because he might sweep through, or I can't go under against. So now he's understanding. Like, once you play games, then everything else starts playing in effect, and you're like, all right, I remember this from a year ago, or I remember this from 15 games ago. So now it's starting to click. So he's going to be fine, and I'm excited to see his progression. I'm excited to see E's progression as well. Just like me being able to talk to him. He's a young guy, so being able to talk to him and just being able to lead him is going to be huge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Spencer.
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. What's up, Colin?
What's up?
So you said it yourself, you're going into your 4th year, but you're in your early 20s. You're one of the leaders on this team. It goes the same way around for a lot of these guys. Early 20s, but have experience. You guys already talked about not loving losing and sick and tired of losing. How do you get to that point when you're in April and May to where you accomplish your goal and you do take that next step?
I would say paying attention to details, and the details on the offensive end and the details on the defensive end as well. Shot goes up, anybody in the corner get back, or box out your man, or just like one more, you know what I mean, compete. Like the little details that's going to help us win games is going to be very important for us in our growth this year. And that's pretty much what we're going to need, especially like if we worked on it in practice, in the game, paying attention to the details. If this guy is an under guy or this guy is an over guy, making sure you do it every single time. So,
how do you hold each other accountable?
Just letting each other know, like, hey, you missed that box out, or I was open one more. Swing that one more to me. I'm gonna knock it down. Like, and that's not coming from a selfish place. That's coming from a good place. And know that, all right, my teammate, he knows that, all right, I gotta do better. You know what I mean? It's holding each other accountable, and that's what we need, and that's what it's gonna be this year.
How'd you spend your summer? I saw a couple Instagram posts. You're doing some modeling and stuff.
Working out a lot, and just pretty much getting my body ready for the season. I want to play all 82 this year, and that's my goal. And I want to make sure I stay injury free. So with that, I made sure that I locked in on a lot of like treatments, a lot of flexibility, a lot of things that's going to help me in game 60. So.
And then it's a lot, obviously, that we've talked about in the past, but what's different about this year? You guys have been in here for a few weeks getting some runs in. So what's different?
I would say just us having like 15 guys in August, you know what I mean? Like, if we have 15 guys here in August, it's like, dang, all right, these guys want to be here, you know what I mean? So like, we're just pretty much coming together a lot sooner and understanding like what's at stake. And we have one goal, and that's to win. And everyone here wants to win and get better, so.
Thanks, Colin.
You're welcome.
We'll stay in person. Kelsey.
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. Hi, Colin. Kind of going back to that team dinner last night, what made you feel like you could give that message to the team about this accountability aspect, and I guess what sparked that?
I don't think anything just pretty much just sparked it. It's just like at the end of it, Coach did all his talking. Some of the front office, Kobe did his talking, and then it was time for us to talk. And I knew I had to speak up. I knew I want what was on my chest, so I spoke what was on my chest, and that's it. So.
And then when you just look at just how your relationship with Darius in this backcourt has like grown over the past couple of years, and just kind of going into this season, what's your goal for the two of you? One from a leadership aspect, but as well as just on the floor together.
For me and Darius together, I would say just us both being vocal. You know what I mean? Both us being the leaders, and both us talking to the team and knowing the game plan like the back of our hand, knowing what we're going to do for each player. Even if it's the big guy, we know how the bigs are going to play, and just continue to lead by example. You know what I mean? Like that's all it is. When you come in every day ready to work, those guys are like, okay, if they're coming in here ready to work, then I'm ready too, you know? And it's just like, as long as we're doing our job, then everyone else is going to follow, and we're the head of the snake, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mac.
Mac Robinson, 923 The Fan. Colin, with all the practices that you guys have been playing these last few weeks, who are some of the guys that you think have grown the most from what you last remember?
I would say everyone's pretty much getting better every day. It's just it. But I would say like Lamar, Isaac, even Evan from Summer League. Evan looks really good. Who else? I would say BT. Like guys are getting better. Like RJ, he's here and working. Like we're all just pretty much getting better. Big Talk. Like everyone that comes in the gym is going to get better because we have the coaches right behind us. They're holding us accountable, and they're like, all right, y'all got to make some shots today. Like, all right, we're gonna put some work in. Everyone, to even JB, to even D Millie, everyone is just pretty much holding each other accountable in the weight room or even in the training. So.
Of all the newcomers that you guys have this year, who are you most excited to be playing with this year?
Most excited to be, I would say just all the new guys. All the new guys. I know we have an exciting team pretty much, and we have a young team, and we want to play fast. We want to get up and down the court so it can be some highlights. So that's the most exciting thing. We got some high flyers. We got some guys ready to run the floor, and at the end of the day, when we're playing fast and playing Cavs basketball, we're at our best. And We brought some guys in this summer. I know Kobe did his thing with bringing the right pieces in and putting it together like a puzzle, and now we're going to go out here and execute it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go with our last question, Chris, and then we'll wrap it up with Colin.
Yeah, Colin, you've been around Darius for his entire career,
Yeah.
and I know the organization is looking at you and him and some of these other guys to step into that leadership role.
Yeah.
How do you feel like he has grown as a leader?
He's grown a whole lot. Just to coming in and his first year not talking as much and out there just pretty much just playing, doing his thing. But now, now he's just out there talking, orchestrating, getting guys where they need to be. You can tell the growth is night and day. So it's huge. It's huge to see. And for me to see like his first practice to now it's like all right.
And with the organization looking at you and him to step into that because Larry's no longer around.
Yeah.
Like, what does that responsibility mean to you?
It means a lot. Like at the end of the day, we watched Larry. We watched how he held everyone like to a higher standard. Like he would come in the locker room and let us know. And us being able to watch Larry, watch someone who played with the greats. He played with Kobe and Bron. You know what I mean? So like, so now it's able to like, okay, Larry did it this way, so maybe we take a little bit what he did and mix it in and pretty much do it our way. So that's just how I think about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's going to wrap it up for us at the podium. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, gang. That is Colin Sexton. And that concludes Podium Availability at Media Day. If you've been with us the whole way, obviously Justin went off to go do some work, so I'm gonna take us home. But if you've been with us the whole day, thank you so much. So excited about this Cavs team. So appreciative of the Cavs for the opportunity to cover Media Day in this way. Got to talk to Darius. Got to talk to Jared. I mean, got to talk to a ton of players. Got to hear from a ton of different perspectives, and I feel like I'm definitely leaving this Media Day feeling very, very good about the team and very, very excited about the season that is coming up so very fast. So it's all coming together. It's all coming up, Cavs. If you are a supporter of the Chase Down podcast, or it's your first time hearing myself or Justin talk, please go find that podcast feed and subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, help cook those books, and give us a listen. You know, we go once a week out of season, we go twice a week in season, and we're just so excited to cover this team more and more going forward. So thank you so much for spending Cavs Media Day, presented by Cleveland Clinic, with myself, with Justin Rowan, and with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And as always, go Cavs.